Welcome back, everything that is football. And no better way to start the season than a good old-fashioned rivalry. McKinney Boyd moving up to Class 5A and out of District 9 4A. They'll take on big brother McKinney North tonight. And it's a Week 1 rivalry showdown tonight at Ron Poe Stadium. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ron Poe Stadium. Monty Walker along with Brandon Helms, an old face. And a new face here, Kevin McPherson in the booth doing the stats tonight. And down on the sideline, another old face, Jonathan Leidy down there. And he'll be bringing you the coin toss and probably bringing this rain and cloud and telling us about what's going on over the field tonight. But right now, let's talk about some football. McKinney Boyd and McKinney North, Brandon.
Yeah, Monty, we're in mid-season form here. District title on the line tonight. Two old foes playing each other. And oh, wait, no. It's only the start of the season, as you alluded to. Boyd is now in 5A, and my gosh, are they in one of the toughest districts in the area, taking on the likes of all the Plano schools, going in Allen. And, by the way, welcome to 5A. But in the meantime, it's good. I'm glad they're still able to play these local games. And I say local, that they're all within the same city, And I find it funny, Monty, we still call them little brother, even though they're 5A and North is 4A. But, you got some familiar faces, junior returning starter at quarterback. You don't get to say that often. And my gosh, just the season that he had last year, he should still be a force no matter what level he's playing at.
Well, let's go over last year a little bit for Darren Alves. That's who you're talking about. He's going to wear the number 7 this year. He wore 19 a little bit last year, wore the number 8 a little bit last year. He's finally decided on number 7. He's a 5'7", 160-pound junior, as you mentioned, also a great baseball player. But last year, get this, 354 carries, 2,593 yards rushing as a quarterback, 32 touchdowns rushing as a quarterback, and 7.3 yards per carry. That is tremendous for any kid, much less anybody who's 5'7" and 160 pounds.
And, we talked about it last year. You almost think that because he is so small, he does what he's able to do. We've seen him get out of holes he's got no business getting out of, and I can't tell you the number of times my knees buckled last year when I was just watching him. All of a sudden, he's going 100 degrees different direction, but at the same speed. I mean, it's just amazing, and if they're going to have any success at 5A, I'm telling you, they're going to have to do it with him. I just don't see any other way that it's going to get done.
Let's check down with Jonathan Leidy and see what he's got for us down on the sidelines. John, go ahead.
Yeah, guys, we've got a very interesting, very first game of the year. Both coaches come in as reigning 4A Coaches of the Year. Don Drake was named the 2007 4A Coach of the Year, and Coach Sean Pratt was the 2006 4A Coach of the Year. So you got a very interesting matchup between the coaches there. You've also got an interesting matchup at the quarterback. You got the returning starter for Boyd, Darren Alves, and then you got the new quarterback coming in, switching time with Vince Stanko and Brenton Griffin. I look for him to be a lot like Darren Alves, but maybe not as sharp in that. If you look off into the sky, we've got a very, very cloudy evening here, and there's about a 20% chance of rain, so we may get a little wet here tonight. But going back to the football matchup, you've got McKinney North coming off of off-season last year, and you got McKinney Boyd coming off of a very, very great season heading into 5A, and they've got a lot to prove in this 5A district. I look for a great game here tonight. Back up to y'all.
All right, thanks a lot, John. We'll check back down with you in just a moment for that coin toss later on in the pregame show. Right now, let's talk to new face in the booth, and that's Kevin McPherson. Kevin, talk to us a little bit about what you see from this game tonight.
Team against a team that's a little more tested. Just watching in the warm-ups, McKinney North looks a little nervous. Even in their walkthroughs as the first-team offense is running plays, I saw a couple of guys, false start, and you got a lot of sophomores and juniors on this team going to be taking their first varsity snaps. They had played either on freshman or JV last year, and if they can get over those jitters, they've got some people with some skill. So I think what's going to come down to tonight is if McKinney North can keep the football away from Boyd, we're going to see more rushing from McKinney North because they've changed offensive coordinators. Mike Fetchy brings a more run-oriented attack to the Bulldogs. And on the other side of the ball, Boyd's just got to do what Boyd does best, and that's get the ball in the hands of their quarterback, Darren Alves, and get him out in open spaces. Last year in the game, he had at least 4 runs of over 40 yards, and he ran for more than 200 yards against a North defense that got pretty weary as the season went on. With more players going both ways for Sean Pratt's team, it'll be interesting to see how McKinney North's stamina and their strength will hold up as the game wears on.
Yeah, and Kevin, I don't know necessarily that what they did to Darren Alves was a fault of the North defense, because he did that to a lot of teams last year. But if you can minimize what he does, eventually they lost. You can do something.
Well, Kevin, you bring up a good point in the fact that McKinney North has a new offensive coordinator, Mike Fetchie, and matter of fact, they have a new defensive coordinator as well, in Jason Meskimen. The loss of their offensive coordinator, Kenny Duck, and Joe Castillo, the offensive coordinator last year, within 1 week of each other. That was a tremendous blow to the McKinney North coaching staff, but Mike Fetchie comes over from he's been here for a while, but he's a John Marshall High School graduate, went on to Hardin-Simmons, and then his first coaching job was at Irving MacArthur, moved over to Rowlett, and then came here. And they have some big shoes to fill on offense and defense. We're going to take a quick timeout. We'll have the coaches show and the senior spotlight coming up in a moment. We're at Ron Post Stadium. Stay with us on 97.5 KLAK. Well, it is football time in Texas. We're at Ron Post Stadium getting ready for McKinney North to take on McKinney Boyd. Both of these teams fairly young as far as a football program. McKinney North's overall record is 30-33. And McKinney Boyd's overall record as a program, 9-14. North's record here at Ron Post Stadium is a pretty good 21-11. And versus McKinney ISD schools, they're 4-2, which is pretty impressive as well, considering their young start. McKinney Boyd, also being young's record here at Ron Post Stadium is 5-7. Of course, they went 0-10 their first year. Came back last year with a 9-4 record. Their record versus McKinney ISD schools is 2-2. You want to talk about comparisons between these two young programs. McKinney North, after its first 23 games, were 7-16, and McKinney Boyd right now, after its first 23 games, 9-14. And if you want to, are you interested in McKinney High? We got to go way back to 1920 and 21.
I didn't know they kept records back then.
They were 8-4-4 in their first 23 games. So how about that? Darren Alves accounted for 338 yards and 3 touchdowns in this game last year, and one would expect that he would probably be on the board tonight. He has scored at least 1 touchdown in every game that he has played on varsity.
And to think that goes back is, I know we fawned over him a lot last year, and he did deserve it. I don't want to say, that it was undeserved, but my gosh,
we haven't even mentioned his nickname yet.
That's true, Pinball Machine,
the Pinball Wizard, if you will remember.
And I'd like to think I played a part in that. I'm not gonna toot my horn too much, but you go back there. There's no question who the heart and soul of this team is, and you want to know why they went to the third round of the playoffs. It gone now. That said, they played some heck of a defense last year too, and anytime you make that deep in the playoffs, you got to be good on all 3 sides of the ball: offense, defense, and special teams. But to the detriment of the defense, you don't make spectacular plays when you tackle them for a gain, or for no gain, rather. Well, and that's ultimately why Darren Alves gets so much attention, is because he's flashy.
McKinney Boyd, by far the most experienced team in this football game tonight. Last year combined as returners coming back, 3,391 yards rushing. That's coming back from last year. Throwing the football, 1,178 yards coming back this year in Darren Alves, and receiving 574 yards coming back this year. You look on the other side, McKinney North, they lost a ton of talented skill position players. Coming back, they have only 130 yards combined from the returning players from last year. Passing, 830 yards, and all of that is Vince Stanko, and he's not starting anymore. And receiving, they're bringing back 415 yards and 35 receptions, only 2 touchdowns. So you can tell the balance, obviously, in McKinney Boyd's favor as far as experience in this football game.
Yeah, Monty, and the district's realigned. We haven't touched on that too much, but we look down at the district that Boyd's playing in. You find some perennial playoff teams. And you find some state championship qualifying type teams. You got Allen and you got Plano. Oh my God, are there any two tougher schools in one district combined than those two? And then that doesn't include any of the Plano directional schools. I mean, it's going to be an uphill climb this year, but this is no different than they started out last year. No one gave them a lick of respect and thought that they would do anything, and then they go 3 deep in the playoffs.
Well, and let's not make it a McKinney Boyd show. We got to talk about North here a little bit too. And North obviously changing districts as well during realignment. Actually, they're still in 9-4A. Just the teams have changed. Sherman Denison now joining the group. The Frisco teams move out. So that's nice, I guess, for Sherman and Denison. They don't have to go to Wichita Falls, and they don't have to go east to Paris and Sulphur Springs. And right now we're going to go down to John Leidy down on the sidelines.
All right, you guys are our captains. If we have any penalties on the play, you guys step forward, speak for your team. If we have any rough play on the team, we're going to come to you guys to clean it up, all right? We expect good conduct all times. All right, that's heads, that's tails. You're going to call it in the air, okay? What are you going to call? Heads. He's going to call heads. After I catch it, you repeat what he calls. If I drop it, we do it again. In the air, call it. Heads. It's heads. You won the toss. You want to kick, receive, defend the goal, defer to half. Defer to half. They want to defer.
Love that whistle.
Yeah, they always
defend the goal. You want to receive? Yes. Which team you want to kick from? You're going this way. I know. I'm just making it right. Get down there. You guys get on that line facing us. Boyd, come over here.
All right, I just want to let everybody know, it may have sounded like the referee was telling them what was going on. This is one of those where they flipped it before, and they do it for show out here. And sometimes that's the bad thing about airing it, is when the captain forgets who flipped the coin or what the call was supposed to be or where they're defending, the referee has to remind. So that wasn't set up that way by the referee. That was what happened naturally between the coaches.
Some of the captains out there, one, of course, McKinney Boyd, Zach Adamczyk, and one for McKinney North is Alex Laudenslager, who was actually the senior spotlight member tonight.
Now, if that's not a football name, I don't know what is.
Actually, I believe it's pronounced Laudenslager.
Either way.
Let's see. Let's go over the officials for tonight's game. The referee is Terry Mayfield, the umpire Robert Reed, the head linesman Greg Smith, the line judge David Stefan, and the back judge Reggie Andrews. We're going to send it right back for the studios to Gene to have a little commercial break right quick. We'll be back in a moment from Ron Poe Stadium on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Poe Stadium. Monty Walker along with Brandon Helms. We're just about ready for the national anthem as Boyd is lined up on the near side in their red uniforms and white pants. Of course, they have their navy blue helmets, and I think we're ready for the national anthem, and we'll let you listen to that here in week 1. McKinney Boyd marching band there from the track playing out towards the field. Again, McKinney Boyd in their red uniforms. We haven't seen those a whole lot. The red uniforms with the navy blue helmets, white pants, red and blue stripe down those white pants. Across the field is McKinney North, the visiting team tonight, wearing all white. White pants, white uniforms, dark blue, navy numerals, and a navy stripe right over the sleeve. And, of course, their orange helmets that look similar to the Cleveland Browns, real close to that color. And here come the McKinney Boyd Broncos out on the field. And they will be lining up to do the kicking here. Or receiving, rather, I believe. I was so excited that John Leidy was down in the coin toss, I didn't even see who won. We'll have to check on that. So it will be McKinney Boyd's.
I can actually answer that one. The Bulldogs won, and the Broncos will receive because the Bulldogs deferred.
That's what we pay you for, Brandon.
We need to change these names. Bulldogs and Broncos, there's just too many B names right here.
I don't think you'll get support from either side of the fans on that.
Well, no one's going to want to change their name.
We have Joseph Robinson and Montarius Pittman back deep for McKinney Boyd. Kicking off will be Bryson Long for McKinney North. He had a big summer. Went to a kicking camp out in California, did real well. And they always, McKinney North, if you're familiar with the Bulldogs, the way they do things on kickoff, they always fake the quail onside. And it looks like they're going to do that again. And they stop just shy of the 40-yard line now. They all spread out back at the 30. Bryson Long, a left-footed kicker, will stand on the hash at the 30-yard line. Now takes his steps and puts his leg into it. It's a high, short kick going to be taken at the 12-yard line by Pittman. Up the right hash and out of bounds at the 28-yard line. McKinney Boyd will take over. 1st and 10, moving right to left from their own 28.
Monty, is there anything about the McKinney ISD that you don't know? The fact that you know that the kid went to a kicking camp in California amazes me. I mean, it's like you're plugged into everything that goes on.
Well, I have to give props to the guys at McKinneyNews.net. I get a lot of my info from those guys.
And I could say the same thing about them.
Grant Gibson split out wide left. He is the nephew of Todd Dodge at University of North Texas. Cameron Mazer comes alongside Darren Alves in the backfield, now stands to his right. Alves shotgun, he's going to run right up the middle. First play, spins out of a tackle, and he puts the ball on the turf. It's on the ground, recovered at the 35. McKinney North says they have it. No indication yet from the officials. And it is McKinney North ball on the very first play of the season for McKinney Boyd. Darren Alves fumbles. Josh Matthews recovers. Matthews, the strong safety, 5'10", 185-pound junior. You'll see him a lot on offense, but he makes a great play right there from his strong safety position.
And, Monty, if you remember back to last year, I commented several times that I don't know that Darren Alves tucks it the way that he might should, but then again, with the results that he got last year, you don't want to mess with something that works. But now you wonder, teams study films and they look at this kind of thing. He put that ball on the ground because he didn't tuck it up, no more, no less.
We'll give you the dog offense right after this play. On first down, moving left to right. McKinney North at the Boyd 35, knocking on the door early here. Matthews goes in motion behind the quarterback, and he gets the hand running right tackle. He puts the ball on the turf. That's a fumble, and Boyd has it back at the 30-yard line. Wow! 2 plays, 2 fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries.
This must be the first game of the season.
26.
Oh, and that
Cameron Mazer, the strong safety for Boyd, comes up with that
I was
one.
about to say, if that was Mazer coming up with it, this is he plays both sides of the ball, and he makes there's a reason he does at the 5A level because he makes impacts. He want to give Alves yardage, go to Mazer blocking.
Both of those kids play both sides of the football, and that's why, because they make plays. Talking about Josh Matthews and Cameron Mazer. Well, can we give you the Boyd starting offense here after this play? We'll try. Alves in the gun. Handoff up the middle. Pittman down in the backfield. Great play by John Beeman. Way to start the season up front for John Beeman there. 5'10", 225-pound senior. Let's give you the Broncos starting offense. 2nd down and 12. Alves rolling to the right. Left-handed quarterback now comes back near side. Runs past a defender. Cuts up to the 25. Throws it out now. It's caught at the 45-yard line with some running room. Pittman down to the 42 in McKinney North territory. Jonathan Lee makes the stop, but a great play.
Yards, 31 yards.
And Monty, if that's never a play that's more illustrative of why Alves is so dangerous at quarterback, he made that play only because he had his feet, not because he had an arm. He was on the far side. He comes back to the near side. The defense doesn't know how to react to that because they're going after a quarterback, and you've got a receiver wide open. All Alves has to do is get it to him.
First and 10 for McKinney Boyd, right to left. Alves in the gun, sends a man in motion. That's Robinson, and Mazer jumps off sides, moves in motion a little too early. It would have been okay, but Robinson was in motion at the same time, and you can't have two guys in motion at the same time, so bring him back 5 yards.
And then that also screwed with the receivers that were on the far end because they went past the line of scrimmage. Again, this is the first game of the season. You hope that this is exactly what you iron out in your pre-district schedule.
Well, if you listen to the coaches show, Don Drake was talking about how he was just hoping that they got the snaps back okay in shotgun. Some of those things can be issues at times. Alves in the gun. Mazer in motion, comes back, actually just walks back. Robinson in motion. First down and 15. Alves on the run to the left side, cuts it back inside and down at the 40. Oh, well, is he down? Yep, he's finally down at the 42-yard line. 10:29 left to go in the first quarter. No score at Ron Post Stadium between McKinney Boyd and McKinney North.
Now, Monty, we talked about in the pregame, Alves is wearing his third number. Remember, the first jersey he had was so loose that he was getting jersey tackled. You wonder if this one's tighter because in that situation he was jersey tackled.
After this play, we'll give you the McKinney North starting defense. Two receivers split out wide right. Gibson to the left. Mazer comes back with Alves again. And Alves wants to throw it to the right side, far side, and it is caught. And making a couple of moves up the right hash before tackled by Spencer Rogers. And on the play, or on the reception, is Chase Ennis. He was here a couple of years ago, moved away, has now come back. He liked McKinney Boyd.
Who doesn't?
I think he saw that quarterfinal dance and said, "Hey, wait a minute! I think
like
I
a
want
piece of that.
I
Yeah.
want to come back."
And then they go to 5A.
3rd and 4, big play early for McKinney Boyd, moving right to left. Alves drops back 2 steps, and now whistles blow before this one can get underway. It'll be a false start, and once again, this will come back. And let's give you the McKinney North starting defense. 3rd down and 9 for the Boyd Broncos. Alves drops back 2 steps, throws it out to the left side, and he one-hops his receiver, Joseph Robinson. It's incomplete, and it'll be 4th down and 9 with 9:07 left to go in the first quarter. No score. Already 2 fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, but you can basically wipe them out because Boyd retained possession, and they got the first kickoff, so it's like McKinney North. It's actually like their first possession coming up here.
Yeah, and when you have back-to-back plays like that, it kind of gives the first guy who fumbled a chance to loosen up and say, okay, no big deal, my defense covered for me. And that's exactly what happened. He came out kind of loose. However, you're looking at his not his strength. He one-hopped that ball to his receiver, but he was thrown across his body.
Alves will line up in punt formation. He'll do the punting this year for the Boyd Broncos. Travis Yarborough has graduated, so Darren Alves not only takes his uniform number, but he also takes his punting position and duties. Deontay Hudson will stand back at his own 12-yard line for McKinney North to try to return this Darren Alves punt. 9:07 left to go in the first. No score at Ron Post Stadium. On an overcast, beautiful evening. The kids are enjoying that. Here's a high snap. Alves brings it down, punts it high, end over end, towards the left corner. And that one goes, I believe, out of bounds. I couldn't see over on the far side. So McKinney North will take over, moving left to right here. Only took 7 seconds off the clock for that punt. 9 minutes left to go in the first. No score at Ron Post Stadium. While we're waiting, why don't we go ahead and give you the McKinney North starting offense. Brenton Griffin lines up in shotgun formation for McKinney North, the quarterback. And Griffin will hand off to Matthews right up the middle. Matthews with a big hole for a moment. And he goes across the 25 to the 27-yard line, about an 8-yard gain on first down. Zach Adamczyk makes the stop for the Broncos. 6', 200-pound junior, had 26 tackles last year. Gets his first one of the year on that play. Ball will set at the 25-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 4. Make it a 6-yard gain instead of 8, which I had said earlier. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. They basically run the same offense. Don Drake a part of both teams at one point. Here's Matthews with a handoff for maybe about a yard. Drake was the offensive coordinator for Boyd, as Miller Burns makes the tackle there for Boyd. He was the offensive coordinator for North for a lot of years. Of course, got the head coaching job at Boyd when they started the program. He basically took the same offense over to Boyd, has tinkered with it a little bit, and it looks a little different, but it's basically the same offense.
Well, and what both coaches do is they play to the strength of their personnel. That's why you see Boyd running it a lot more than North does, and that's why I think North needs to be able to rush the ball more.
3rd and 3. And it'll be Griffin in the gun, and that's Matthews once again, and he's trying to fight for that first down marker. I don't believe he got it, maybe a yard short. That'll bring up 4th down and short, and we'll see the punting team for McKinney North come out, and that's Bryson Long, and he also does the kicking duties. He'll do the punt duties as well.
Yeah, and Monty, going back to that 3rd down, I mean, that's a good reason why North needs to rush. You look back 2 years ago, 5-yard Barrett, that was almost a given on a first down. Last year, they were really inconsistent in the running game, and that put a lot of pressure on Stanko when he was the starter because he had to deliver on passing, and he's just not as good as Herbal was.
Well, McKinney North was also about 35 pounds heavier up front on the average. Here's Bryson Long's punt, an end-over-end low-line drive. It's going to be caught and dropped at the 39-yard line, but I believe he got back on it. And that's Cody Sieber, the free safety, who's going to be returning punts this year. And he didn't make too good of his first one right there as it bounced right off his number 17 on his chest, hit the turf, but he came right back up with the football.
Well, now it's one of those low line that generally you'll see a lot of punt returners get away from because it's a lot harder to field it than your arcing punts. And he got real lucky. The bounce didn't go very far, stayed in his direction where he could just pounce on it, and Boyd keeps the football.
Gibson the near side, Colby Matsky on the far right side. Here's a handoff to Robinson coming around from his slot position, and he'll make his way up to the 41-yard line. Actually, that's Pittman on the carry. Brandon Ramsey makes the stop for McKinney North. There's a flag on the play laying at the 42-yard line. We'll have to see what that is.
Now, usually that's in the area of holding. It came from one of the back judge. And actually, it's a chop block. That's even worse.
So far, McKinney Boyd not playing the cleanest of games so far.
That might be an understatement. Yeah, they've had 2 fumbles, 1 they lost.
That's the 5th penalty so far, Kevin McPherson tells us, for McKinney Boyd already. And we have 6 minutes and 44 seconds left to go in the first quarter. No score.
We need to figure out if we can tap into that referee signal because they have an open mic now where they can tell you what the penalty was. And by the way, Monty, chop blocks, those are 15-yarders.
Yeah, that's a big one. That one's very costly as it's first down at 25 now.
What a chop block is, just for those who don't know, is when one blocker gets somebody up high and then another blocker comes from behind and takes the legs out. And that can be very dangerous to the defender, and that's why that's a 15-yarder because those could be season-ending injuries if you're not careful.
Well, first down and 25 now. McKinney Boyd at their own 23-yard line. Moving right to left. Gibson split out wide left, and that's going to be Joseph Robinson in the slot. Mentioned Matsky a moment ago. Colby Matsky, he was a superstar on the junior varsity level last year, and he lines up wide right. Alves in the gun. Now he wants to run. Cuts it up left side. He's got some room. Up to the 30. Cuts it out. 35, 40. Takes a man down. Wow, what a hit by Darren Alves, who puts his head right in the chest of Jonathan Lee and bowls him over.
I can tell I'm used to him by now. My knees didn't buckle at all. He made some great moves, but the thing that made that play was Grant Gibson blocking in his wideout position. He held his man down, not held in a penalty sense, but was blocking his man downfield, and that allowed Alves to spring out to the outside and pick up an extra 5 to 10 yards. It was just a great blocking job.
22 yards on the play by Darren Alves, ad-libbing his way out to the left side of the field there. And there's some movement up front again. Alves is going to rush out to the left side. He's got the 50. He's got the 45 and drugged down from behind by Spencer Rogers, the 6'1", 185 senior. But Alves has enough for the first down. I thought I saw some movement up front.
It's been close. I've noticed that there's a man in motion who seems like I can't say if he's in motion or not, but I see what you're seeing. And I've seen that a few times, and I thought there might be flags. But since it's so close to the snap, I think the refs are letting him play.
Alves in the gun, 4 yards deep. Robinson goes in motion, stands behind Alves, now moves a little to his right. And he'll run the option, and Alves keeps it around the right side. Now coming back. Still keeping his feet moving. Crosses the 40 down to the 37-yard line in McKinney North territory. About a 6-7-yard gain for Darren Alves. With 5:12 left to go in the first. No score, McKinney North and McKinney Boyd.
You know what separates the good runners from the mediocre and average runners is they keep their feet moving. He had a linebacker and a defensive lineman huddled all around him. His feet are still moving, turning out the yards.
2 receivers to either side for McKinney Boyd, moving right to left in red uniforms. Alves, number 7, in shotgun. He wants to throw. Left-handed quarterback throws it out, and then Gibson tips it and then comes down with it at the 32-yard line. A great play by Gibson to hang on. He was hit by Deontay Moore as he was trying to make the catch. The ball went up in the air. Gibson went up with it and brought it back down.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do if you're defending that kind of play. I mean, you had your arms around him. We're trying to bring him down. That was just a great job by Gibson to have the focus and concentration to hang on to that one.
Mazer, the tight end, is a stand-up tight end off the ball. Here's Pittman, and he comes in motion, stands behind Alves. Low snap, digs it out. Pittman gets the carry, running out, bouncing out right side, flag down, 25, and falls down at the 22-yard line. He just got his feet, he left his feet behind him a little bit, and he just kind of fell face first. Would have been close to a first down, but a flag down right at the line of scrimmage. Darren Alves puts his palms up in the air as to say, what now?
Yeah, I saw that one a mile away. It doesn't get much easier to call than that one on that holding.
6th penalty of the evening for 40 yards for McKinney Boyd.
Is this the first game, Monty?
Yeah, and there's not even 8 minutes gone yet in the first quarter. And it's not a good start by Boyd. They fumbled on the very first play, and they've had 6 penalties since.
And you know what? They're still driving, though. That's the funny. And this drive has looked a lot more like Boyd that we remember from last year.
Because it's Alves.
No question.
Alves with a 22-yard rip will remind you of last year a lot.
But and when you analyze it, we talk about him a lot. He gets the yard, so he gets the credit. But, man, he gets some good blocking. He really does.
Absolutely. 2 receivers to either side. One will assuredly come in motion. And they don't. As soon as I say that, Alves with the screen up to the middle. And that's Joseph Robinson with a lot of room. And once again, his legs comes out from under him. And this is not college, Joseph. You can't get up and run even though you weren't touched. And now another flag comes down.
Yeah, that's going to be William Smalley. After the play, I didn't catch it. It may have been Alex Laudenslager, but he just put his hand in the guy's face mask, gave him a push, and right in front of the line judge there. That'll get you called every time. And that goes back. Another penalty that kills the momentum on this drive. They were going to be real close to a nice 3rd and short.
Talk about stories. There's 2 twins on this McKinney Boyd team. One, A.J. Gross, and the other one is Ryan Gross. One is 6'1", 260. The other one is 5'10", 190. They're twins.
Are they fraternal?
How does that happen? A.J. Gross, on top of that, he lost 47 pounds this year. He was 300. His brother was 190. Twin brother.
All right, Monty, this is going to be curious to see what happens here because that's going to be a dead ball penalty for 15.
Well, right now on the board, it's 2nd and 23 with 3:46 left to go in the first. No score between Boyd and North from McKinney. Alves in the gun, wants to run. Runs left side, makes a move to the 35, down to the 30. Another flag down. Is tackled and pushed for about a 5-yard gain at the end of that play, but a flag is down. Joseph Robinson is who it's going to be called on there.
Yeah, and the reason is simple. That's a penalty that Alves generates because Robinson's zooming in on the defender. He's going to get a nice clean block when all of a sudden Alves is going a different direction. The defender reacts, and Robinson, who's going in for a block, all of a sudden is blocking the guy from behind.
This is not something Don Drake's going to be real happy about. 7 penalties in the first quarter, and we still have 3:32 left in this first quarter.
I feel sorry for Robinson, but unfortunately, like I say, those are more common penalties when you got a runner the caliber of Darren Alves who go a different direction using the same speed. I mean, it's like back in the 90s with Barry Sanders. Detroit had a lot of those penalties because of that same reason, and the reason is the same for the Broncos.
Well, you got to love McKinney football. All orange on the far side, all red on the near side in the stands. Unbelievable crowd for game one. Here's Alves, wants to throw it deep across the left side. Mazer goes up and makes a great catch, but he can't hang on once he hits the ground. It'll be incomplete. Jonathan Lee put a big hit on him at about the 30, and Mazer, who made a great catch, just couldn't hang on at the very end.
He's 6'4", and Darren Alves threw him to him like he was 6'7", and he had to go up in the air, and that's what did him in. He was in great position, but once he left his feet, the defender was able to take him wherever he wanted to, and that forced the ball to knock that one incomplete. Just a little bit lower, and that's really close to a first down.
Mazer, one of those out-of-state kids who moved in last year, said, "Hey, is this like Friday Night Lights?" He said, "Man, this is just like it." 3rd down and 35. Boyd, and Alves has the shotgun go off his foot. He picks it up and is sacked way back at the 36-yard line. And Adam Laudenslager's right there to make sure he doesn't go anywhere. And not a good start for McKinney Boyd at all.
And it's funny that you use those two terms, shotgun and foot, because that's pretty much what Boyd's doing to themselves.
Let's check down with Jonathan Leidy on the sidelines here in just a moment. Jonathan, you got to give us something. Jonathan, what do you got?
Guys, I guess the topic of the game so far has been the McKinney Boyd Broncos shooting themselves in the foot with all these penalties, and their defense is keeping the offense from McKinney North off the field at the moment. We're going to send it back up to y'all.
All right, thanks a lot, John. Darren Alves back in punt formation at his own 25-yard line. Once again, this is Deontay Hudson standing back. Another high snap. Alves has to go up for it, and he has a very high end-over-end kick. It's going to bounce at the 33, a high bounce. And Deontay Hudson says, "No, thank you. I'll let it go." And it rolls down to about the 21-yard line. So McKinney North will set shop at their own 21, moving left to right with 2:15 left to go in the first quarter. It is a 40-yard punt by Darren Alves.
Yeah, Monty, harking back to the coaches show, you talked about Don Drake saying, "I just wish we can get the shotgun snap." Now we know what he's talking about. I mean, that was nothing Darren Alves could do. It was, like you say, it was on his foot. By the time he picks it up, the pressure from the Bulldog defense is there. And you got to give credit. This defense for the Bulldogs, they've been where they've needed to be. They've been a man. They haven't blown an assignment yet. And in a situation like that, if you got the defense doing what they're supposed to do and you put the shotgun on the ground, you're in trouble.
What about this? No score so far in the first quarter. This is a game with 70 points 2 years ago and 77 last year. No score tonight. 2:15 left to go in the first. Here's Stanko in at quarterback, and he throws it out quickly and one hops his receiver out to the far side, and that'll be incomplete. He was trying to hit John Alexander out there, the 5'10", 150-pound junior. But Stanko's first pass of the year falls incomplete.
Yeah, and Monty, there's kind of a big question mark hovering over who's going to be the district starter, and this is exactly why pre-district doesn't count, because it allows you to tune your team up. Now we got Vince Stanko coming in showing why he should be the starter, and with that kind of pass, you got to do a little bit better than that.
North has really not found the answer since the graduation of Eric Herbal. Here's a low snap, and Stanko wants to throw it on the run, and it's caught at the 27-yard line near the out-of-bounds marker, and on the catch is Chris Allen for McKinney North. Parker Bolinas in coverage. Make sure he goes down before the first down mark.
Yeah, we talk about one-hopping the first pass. Well, that pass was right where it needed to be. I don't know that I would throw that if I were him on a consistent basis, but there were 3 defenders there and 1 receiver, and he got it to where only the receiver was going to get it.
Allen will split out wide right, and Alexander split out wide left. In the slot is Josh Allen. And Matthews will be with Stanko back in the backfield, awaiting the snap, and Matthews gets the carry, and he's got a big gain up to the 40-yard line. He's keeping his feet moving too, a lot like Darren Alves, and he has a first down across the 40 to the 42. A great run by Josh Matthews.
Yeah, and Monty, this is technically the 3rd possession for the Bulldogs, although I don't know that I count the first one really, but it does count. And you think about it, Boyd's been on the field most of that first quarter. This is really the first chance we've seen North put anything together at all. And by that I mean a first down.
Nearing the 1-minute mark now in the first quarter, no score. Boyd and North at Ron Poe Stadium. McKinney Boyd. Stanko in the gun. And they draw McKinney Boyd offsides. If that's against Boyd, that's their 8th penalty here in the first quarter.
I saw no movement on the offensive line, so I think so.
I think they did a hard count and drew Boyd offsides.
That's what I expect to be the outcome. Yep.
And that's what it is. So 8 penalties in the first quarter.
Kevin, is that the first one on the defense? It is? Okay.
72 yards worth of penalties from McKinney Boyd in the first quarter. Wow. So it'll be 1st and 5 for McKinney North, left to right. Stanko in the gun, 45 seconds left to go in the first. Awaiting the snap, gets it, wants to throw right side, throws it down, and looking for Allen, who makes the catch and runs out of bounds at the 28-yard line of McKinney Boyd. A nice catch there by Allen, who goes up with it right over Parker Bolinas. Allen has a little bit of a size advantage over Bolinas, but a great leaping catch from Stanko. It'll be 1st down and 10 from the 28-yard line of Boyd with 34 seconds left to go in the first.
That's why it's so key to have a quarterback put right where he is. We know how good Parker is. He's a solid cornerback out there. And again, Stanko put that where only Allen could get it, and that's what we need to see more out of him.
Again, Stanko last year, who was 61 out of 113 for 830 yards, 8 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Looks good so far. Here's a handoff to Matthews, right up the middle, a big hole, breaking a tackle, has the 15 and down right there. Another 1st down for Josh Matthews. Parker Bolinas, the cornerback, comes over and makes the stop.
Yeah, and Monty, you remember how I gave earlier on the Boyd drive Grant Gibson kudos for blocking? Well, in that situation, Chris Allen was waiting for Bolinas to come to him, and if Allen goes up and just gets in Bolinas' way, that's a touchdown.
Matthews has 41 yards in this first quarter, and it's over. 0-0 at the end of one here at Ron Post Stadium. No score. McKinney Boyd and McKinney North back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Post Stadium. We're in the second quarter now. No score between McKinney Boyd and McKinney North, and who would have ever thought that with the points these two teams like to score. As McKinney North will start out this second quarter knocking on the door, moving right to left towards that south end zone. Stanko will be in shotgun formation. We're going to check down with John Leidy in just a moment. He has a great sideline report for us. 1st and 10 here from the 15-yard line of McKinney Boyd. North in shotgun formation is Stanko, and he'll hand off to Matthews, and he bounces out left side and is being chased down and finally brought down by Zach Adamczyk at the 12-yard line. 11:52 left to go in the second quarter. No score between McKinney North and McKinney Boyd. And we'll check down with John Leidy right now. Go ahead, John. Talk to us.
Guys, I don't know if y'all alluded to this earlier in the game, but the McKinney Boyd Broncos are missing the stickers on the side of their helmet. And the reason they're missing those is they didn't quite order enough for this week's game, as they had a lot more players than what they were expecting on the varsity. Back up, y'all.
Now that right there is one heck of a sideline report. That's what we're looking for from John Leidy.
Solid investigative reporting.
Wow. 2nd and 6 for McKinney North, right to left. Matthews will now go behind Stanko to left side. He gets the handoff again. Not much doing there. Met right up front. A big stand from Miller Burns and company. I believe Keith Owens was right there as well for McKinney Boyd to stop Matthews in his tracks. May have even lost a yard.
Monty, I want to get into some philosophical things for the North offense. I think if they can find a running game, you automatically take pressure off of Stanko, because he had tough shoes to fill coming in last year trying to be Eric Erbel, and that's not easy. If they can get a runner going, he's got to feel less pressure and being able to just throw the pass if he needs to.
3rd down and 7. North really needs to score here. And Stanko throws it out right side, and that's a bad pass. It's lucky it wasn't intercepted. Chris Allen was the intended receiver. Parker Bolinas jumped the route, and if it weren't for Allen playing defender, Bolinas would have had that one.
Yeah, you bet. And I don't know if that's a pattern issue. I don't know if that's a pass issue, but that's what I was talking about. You know, they're in 3rd and long. At this part of the field, you almost guarantee that they're going to have to pass it. Well, that puts pressure on him. Whereas we saw earlier when he doesn't have to, but he just can, they do a lot better.
Here's Bryson Long in for this, we'll call it a 29-yard field goal. Bad snap, and actually the holder is going to be tackled way back for a loss. Brenton Griffin was the holder, and he was tackled by Cody Sieber. So another miscue by McKinney North. And it turns out it's basically a turnover.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's because we are homers for both sides, but I don't remember a first game of the year being this sloppy.
Yeah, it's pretty sloppy.
You know, I mean, we're not necessarily going to say, okay, Springtown, you're doing bad because it's the first, or whoever it happens to be, but I mean, this is I mean, on offense, Boyd has 101 yards total offense. They have 72 in penalties.
You know what's strange is these kids play spring ball. They play 7-on-7. You think they'd have it down. Here's Alves from the gun and running. He's got a hole up to the 35, 40. Look out. He could be gone. Being chased down at the 40, at the 35, trying to escape one defender. Couldn't do it. I believe there might be a face mask. Deontay Moore finally drug him down on the far side, but a huge run of 54 yards for Darren Alves.
Boy, and you can almost give him another nickname there of the zipper. He just went right through a crease, zipped right through. And again, that goes back to he has the ability to go from right to left using the same speed. And I don't know of anybody who can make a cut like that. It's even at the college level, I don't think I can ever think of a guy who can do that.
A kid like this comes around about every quarter of a century. He's an unbelievable athlete who can spin on a dime, cut on a nickel, twist on a penny.
He's going to have the ability to play Saturday somewhere. I don't know where and I don't know at what position, but he's going to have the ability to play on Saturday.
Get this, 99 yards rushing for Darren Alves.
And 72 yards in penalties for the team. That's funny. And they're knocking on the door again. I mean, this is the Boyd that we're used to.
No score at Ron Post Stadium. Again, McKinney North was knocking on the door a moment ago, but a bad snap on a 29-yard field goal attempt led to basically what was a turnover as the holder was sacked. And now here's Boyd. After a 54-yard run by Alves, they're knocking on the door at the McKinney North 13-yard line. Handoff up the middle, nothing doing there. Montarius Pittman probably brought down for a loss. And it'll be Alex Laudenslager who was right there to make the stop. Laudenslager, a guy who was always, he's gotten closer and closer to the line of scrimmage. Started out, he was a safety. He was really happy with that. Moved to a linebacker, made himself a really good linebacker. He just outgrew those positions. He's a huge guy now. And Coach Pratt said, hey, this guy needs to be putting his hand on the ground. So they moved him up to a right tackle on defense. And, man, what a difference. Here's Alves throwing over the middle, wide open and into the end zone. It's touchdown time in Texas from Cameron Mazer. How many times did you hear that?
Yeah, last year, if I had to pick an offensive MVP number 2, it'd be Mazer.
Mazer with his first touchdown of the year. He had 3 last year, had 304 yards receiving last year. We'll check the flag. It may be a celebration penalty.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be negating the touchdown. It's not in that area, and it's not thrown by that type of referee. And I didn't see when it came out because I was looking at some stats. But yeah, it's unsportsmanlike conduct. Which isn't a big deal because you're still going to keep the touchdown. It's an after a dead ball foul.
So it's a 14-yard touchdown from Alves to Cameron Mazer. And who would have ever thought that Alves' first touchdown would be throwing the football?
Yeah, that is kind of funny when you think about it. But it's no surprise who it went to. I mean, that guy, Cameron Mazer, we talked about him briefly before. He plays on both sides of the ball because he's good on both sides of the ball.
He's a difference maker, a great player over there especially.
You give me 11 guys like Cameron Mazer, and I'll put a winner on the field.
Well, doing the kicking will be Philip Richardson. And Richardson's kick is true. So it's 7-0. Boyd strikes first. But it happens in the second quarter. 9:23, 7-0. McKinney Boyd on top at Ron Post Stadium. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. 9:15 left to go in the second quarter. Big run back by John Alexander there. And here is Stanko. Throws it out, and it's caught. And that's the receiver out there, Deontay Hudson, who makes the catch shy of the midfield stripe. Well, they'll actually give him the midfield stripe. 7-0. McKinney Boyd on top over McKinney North. Kevin, how about a scoring drive recap?
McKinney Boyd scoring drive, just 3 plays, 82 yards, took just a little over a minute. Matter of fact, a minute and 3 seconds, and culminated in the Darren Alves 18-yard touchdown pass to Cameron Mazer.
Second down and short. 2nd and 3 now for McKinney North. 8:40 left to go here in the second quarter. McKinney Boyd on top 7-0. Stanko still in the game at quarterback. Shotgun formation, sends a man to the right. That's Alexander with him. Fakes the hand, throws it out right side. That's Hudson again, makes a move. Oh, what a great move, and gets the first down at the 47-yard line. Makes one guy miss, Parker Bolinas. He sidestepped him, and just finally Cody Garrett brought him down after he made about a 3 or 4 yard nifty move there. First down and 10 for McKinney North with 8:22 left to go in the second quarter, 7-0. Boyd on top. Jonathan Lee into the game is split out wide left. Stanko goes under center. You hardly ever see this, and he falls down. He trips over his guard. Maybe that's why you don't see it. And he tosses it out to Matthews, who stopped in the backfield. Did good to get just a 1 yard loss. Miller Burns comes up and makes the stop. You never see any McKinney North quarterback go under center. This is the first time I can ever remember, except our goal line plays where they'd run up under center. This is the first time I've really ever seen that from North. And he tripped over the guard's foot. They go back and shotgun here. Second down and 11. 7:31 left to go in the second. Matthews moves over to the right of Stanko, who rolls out right. Now he wants to run, and he tucks it, and he gets back to the line of scrimmage. So no gain there for Stanko. It looked like a big, long run, but he was back so far off the line of scrimmage that he ended up getting no gain. Daniel Edgar, the linebacker, makes the stop. It'll be 3rd down and 11 for McKinney North.
The least, that's what it was. Of the 3 quarterbacks in the game, Stanko's the least likely to be able to make a run out of something.
3rd down and 11 here, under 7 minutes left to go in the second quarter rather. 2 receivers near side, Josh Allen and Jonathan Lee, and now a whistle blows, and this will be a false start against McKinney North. Actually, a timeout has been called.
Yeah, they're on the verge.
I'm just so used to seeing yellow flags here.
Well, they're on the verge of delay game.
We'll take 1, 2. 6:43 left to go in the second quarter. McKinney Boyd on top 7-0. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Poe Stadium. Monty Walker along with the rest of the game. Stanko throws it out, and Alex Laudenslager tries to bring it in at the 30-yard line. It goes through his hands. Laudenslager playing the tight end this year, and we just dropped that one.
It's a shame that wasn't caught, because Josh Matthews blocked 2 guys on a cut block, and I've never seen that. He literally, it's like bowling. He took out 2 defenders by going low, and that allowed Stanko to get the pass out. And it wasn't the perfect pass, but it wasn't a bad pass either.
Well, it'll be punt time for McKinney North.
And it kind of goes back, Monty. That was a pass that he had to do, not that he could have done.
New punter into the game for North, and that's Jonathan Lee. And Lee takes about 2 or 3 steps. I thought he was going to run with it, but he takes a running start to punt it away, and he did. And it's a pretty nice kick inside the 15, rolling to the 14 and down right there.
Well, he also took 2 steps to the side, and that's a bad idea with a guy coming at you from that side.
33-yard punt for Jonathan Lee. And McKinney Boyd will set up shop deep in their own territory at the 20, well, I'll call it the 22-yard line.
No, that's just where they're standing. The ball's officially, where's the line? Oh, yeah, I guess it.
Well,
what the heck?
I know I saw it roll to the 14. Maybe they touched it a little early. Maybe that's what it was. But they will mark it at the 22-yard line. So Boyd will have it 1st and 10, moving left to right towards the north end zone at their own 22 with 6:25 left to go in the second quarter. And Boyd has a 7-0 advantage on a Darren Alves to Cameron Mazer 18-yard touchdown pass in the first quarter. Alves in the gun, sends a man in motion. Movement all over the place. Is this the 9th penalty for McKinney Boyd? Kevin McPherson says it is. William Smalley jumped off sides.
Wow.
Or had false start, actually. Smalley, 6'2", 290 pounds, is responsible for at least 2 of those penalties. 77 yards in penalties for McKinney Boyd.
Wow. and it's not even halftime. That's some team's total for a whole game.
And Alves has 99 yards rushing. if you want to look at the bright side.
Yeah.
Alves is in the gun, stands at his own 12-yard line. Robinson in motion. Alves is going to keep it, cuts it up toward the near side, and makes two guys miss. Spins out of another tackle up to the 32, takes on the entire defense, and spins his way to a first down at the 35-yard line. You can't count yourself out. I don't care if it's 1st and 50 with Darren Alves.
No, definitely not. And I just have to ask Gene, remember when and if he scores a touchdown on the ground, get Pinball Wizard ready as the return. That's a kind of a tradition we established last year. I want to keep that going because that's exactly what he is. I mean, the guy spins and he's still going full speed. I mean, he could run a 100-yard dash and run the same thing no matter if he's spinning, running straight, making cuts. I don't know how he does it.
Well, they say he runs a 4.4.
I believe it.
I don't know if he runs a 4.4, but he's awfully quick. Here's a bad snap. He picks it up on the run, and he's behind the line of scrimmage, and he can't get back to the line of scrimmage. You know, if you get a clean snap, then you can do something with it. But when you get a bad snap, it kind of puts you behind the 8 ball there, and he did there. It's 2nd down and 11 with 5:32 and rolling here in the second quarter. McKinney Boyd on top 7-0 in a low-scoring event, which we haven't had between these two schools ever.
Of course, they also haven't met at the first game of the season, so that might be playing some part of it because, you know, they're not always the Christmas of teams, but they're never this sloppy.
2nd down and 10. Alves wants to throw right over the middle. Has Mazer again. First down. Mazer makes one man miss, jumps over him, and gets another yard before finally being tackled there at the 47-yard line, shy of midfield. First down for McKinney Boyd. And another nice pass by Darren Alves.
Yeah. He's never going to be an Eric Erbel type passer, but if you can make the teams respect your pass, all of a sudden your run's going to be a lot better.
By the way, his old catch and throw teammate Jeff Fuller from last year is now a starter at Texas A&M.
Wow!
Congratulations,
yeah,
to
you
Jeff
bet.
Fuller. And here's Alves in the gun, drops back 3 steps, throws it across the middle, down the field, and it's intercepted.
Wow.
A great play by Jonathan Lee. One-handed with his left hand on the run, jumps up and makes the catch, hauls it in at the 20-yard line. A spectacular interception by Jonathan Lee, the sophomore, 6'3", 193 pounds. Wow!
A lot of times you can say the receiver should have done something there, but man, Jeff Robinson was running in stride, and that ball was going to go right into his arms, but somehow a leaping interception happens right in front of him, and all Robinson can do is watch because he was doing what he was supposed to do, and maybe Alves threw it just a teeny bit underthrown, but nothing out of the ordinary. That was just a great defensive play.
Wow, that was.
That's an athletic play is what that is.
Well, here's McKinney North, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. 1st and 10, right to left. And this is going to be Josh Allen getting the hand coming across from the slot. And he puts the ball on the turf at the 25-yard line. No indication yet. The ball just squirted free, and Boyd has it.
Wow.
Boyd has recovered at the North 25-yard line on a Josh Allen fumble. Cody Sieber comes up with it. Sieber has had a great night on defense and on special teams.
I talked about return music when Darren Alves scores a touchdown, if that happens. How about we have return music that's the Benny Hill theme?
So now, McKinney Boyd will take over.
Golly.
Back and forth, back and forth. 1st and 10. Boyd from the North 25-yard line. Alves runs right up the middle. Big hole to the 15-yard line. First down, Darren Alves. And a man down for Boyd, and it's William Smalley, the guard, laying at the line of scrimmage, which was the 25-yard line. He's on his stomach, tries to do a push-up, and now rolls over on his left side. And there is a official timeout on the field. William Smalley is on his back now as the trainers, Gary Hutto and Jamie Kalichowski, and I know I butchered that, I'm sorry, but the trainers are out now, and they're taking a look at William Smalley. No idea what the injury is right now, and we won't speculate. And we'll take a timeout, and I know as soon as we do, he'll pop right up and run off the field, but we're going to try it anyway. 4:18 left to go in the second quarter. McKinney Boyd on top, 7-0. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Poe Stadium. And just as we said, as soon as we take a break, the kid will pop right back up, and he did. William Smalley walks off the field, so it doesn't look like a serious injury there. Boyd from the north 17-yard line, knocking on the door here. Hand off to Pittman, running across to the left side, jumps up and comes down at about the 12-yard line. It'll be a first down, so move the sticks for McKinney Boyd. 4:01 left to go in the second quarter, 7-0 Boyd on top. And if you missed anything, if you went to the fridge or anything like that, well, it's been a very, very sloppy game. McKinney Boyd has 9 penalties so far. We're still in the first half, 77 yards of penalties. But Darren Alves is well over 100 yards now rushing and has thrown a touchdown. Alves throws out to the right side, and it's caught by Ennis, who makes a move, and he squirts in for the touchdown. It is touchdown time in Texas. Once again, Darren Alves throws it.
And great blocking allowed Ennis to find a seam. And when you're that close to the end zone, if you can get 1 or 2 great blocks, you've got a good chance of getting it in. And that's exactly what happened. That's a solid executed play there, and I'm glad we're seeing this out of Boyd.
Chase Ennis on the score, 13-0, awaiting the PAT. And it'll be Philip Richardson, who seems like he's been around for a long time here at Boyd.
He has.
Cody Sieber, the holder. And Richardson stepping it off. The snap's back. There's a lot of movement going on, and there's another flag. Is this 10, Kevin? That's 10. 10 penalties in the first half for McKinney Boyd.
That's going to be now over 80 yards, 82. Well, and that's assuming it's on Boyd. We don't know for sure yet. They're talking it over, and usually such an easy call will be, they'll just come out and do it. So,
and
it's against North. It's actually against North, Monty.
The touchdown was 12 yards if you're scoring at home. Does anybody do that anymore? They always say that. If you're scoring at home.
They haven't done that since the 50s.
Well, if you're scoring at home, if you're from the 50s, it was 12 yards.
Yeah, that was an offsides penalty against North, Bonnie.
And the extra point by Philip Richardson is true. So it's 14-0 McKinney Boyd with 3:38 left to go in the second quarter. Back in a moment, Ron Poe Stadium on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Poe Stadium. Monty Walker along with Brandon Helms and Jonathan Leidy and Kevin McPherson. Kevin, why don't you go ahead and give us a scoring drive recap?
Scoring drive took just 3 plays, 25 yards, a minute 15, capped by Chase Ennis' 12-yard pass from Darren Alves. By the way, Darren Alves almost symmetric in his total offense, 117 yards rushing, 106 yards passing.
That was a Mike's Economy Transmissions scoring drive recap. Now we're awaiting the JBS Express kickoff. Don't forget, we'll have the Torchmark Corporation star of the game coming up after the game. And here's the kickoff by Richardson. It's going to be high and deep. Bounces at the 11-yard line, picked up by, I believe that's Allen, coming near side to the 25 and down at the 26-yard line. And that is Josh Allen on the return. It'll be 1st and 10 for McKinney North from their own 22-yard line.
Bonnie's going to be interesting to see what North quarterback comes out. We've seen the most looks from Stanko, and that's simply because his offense has been on the field more. They haven't turned it over. We haven't seen a whole much from Brenton Griffin. He's run a few series, and that said, if we've seen Stanko more, he's got more first downs.
You want a storyline that we haven't talked about yet? Quarterback Brenton Griffin for McKinney North and quarterback Jonathan Griffin for McKinney Boyd, brothers.
I figured you were going to say that. Somehow related, at least. I guess they don't live in the same house?
I think the line is divided right down their bedroom.
One bedroom's in one district.
Here's a handoff to Matthews. Nothing doing there. He's bouncing. Whoa, he's still trying to bounce out of a couple tackles, though, at the 28-yard line. Give him a gain of 1, maybe 1.5. 3:19 left to go before half. Gene, our board op, is going to give you some halftime scores at the half, so stay tuned for that. He'll make his on-air debut, so be sure and tune in and try to make you nervous.
Let's set a ratings record for the halftime show.
2nd down and 8 here for McKinney North, moving right to left. Again, a very sloppy game. It's your week 1 or week 0 type of game. A lot of penalties, a lot of turnovers. And there's another penalty. This one's going to be on North. North, not quite as many as McKinney Boyd's 9, but this is the 3rd for McKinney North.
Of course, the difference is Boyd has time of possession well over 12 minutes, and North doesn't even have it over into double digits yet, so it gives Boyd more opportunity. That said, obviously we don't want to see more penalties.
Maybe the second half will be a lot cleaner than the first half. 14-0 on the scoreboard. McKinney Boyd leading McKinney North here at Ron Post Stadium. 2 Darren Alves touchdown passes. Remember, he's rushed for a touchdown in every game he's played so far on varsity. Doesn't have one yet tonight. Stanko fakes like he's throwing, hands off to Matthews up the middle, breaking tackles to the 30, spinning out of another tackle to the 33-yard line. Nice gain there by Matthews, and it's going to be not quite close enough for a first down, but it'll be second down. Well, actually, they'll make it 3rd and about 4 after that 7. I think it's a 7-yard gain.
Monty, that was a really well-executed play by Stanko and the Bulldogs. He really sold that as a pass, and Josh Matthews had 3 guys over him, but somehow because they were going for Stanko initially, they were out of position, and Matthews was able to capitalize and get a nice gain.
2 receivers near side, handoff Matthews up the middle, bowling his way for a first down to the 42-yard line rather. Miller Burns, the returning outside linebacker, makes the stop. 35 tackles last year, 1 sack, 1 interception last year. Makes the stick there, but Matthews too little too late. He's moving the sticks. It's 1st and 10 with $1:33 left to go before halftime.
And this is where their 2-minute drill comes into play here. They need to get going because they've got about half the field to go in less than a minute and a half.
From their own 42, McKinney North trying to push it in before half. 1:20 on the clock. First down and 10. Just shy of midfield. Stanko rolling right, wants to throw down the field to the right side, and is caught at the 40. Chris Allen makes the catch to the 40-yard line of McKinney Boyd. And a nice catch there by Allen. Daniel Edgar makes the stop.
Yeah, Parker Bolinas guy has to do a little bit better job in coverage there. He wasn't looking back at Stanko at all, and if he was, he'd have been at least able to break it open or break the pass up.
3rd catch for 55 yards for Allen. Wants to throw that way again, and Stanko unloads it, and Allen dives for it but can't make the catch. Just shy of the first down mark, so it'll be 2nd down and 10 from the McKinney Boyd 40-yard line.
Yeah,
1 minute on the clock.
Allen wasn't ready for that one. He made his cut, and the ball was already halfway to him, and you saw him react real fast. When you're running a 2-minute offense, you need to be everything, bam, bam, bam. And you got to pick up that tempo, and you can't expect when you turn around that he's still going to be holding the ball.
2 receivers, right side. Stanko in the gun. Matthews behind him. Josh Allen split out wide left. Handoff. Matthews bounces it out right side. He's got the 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, down at the 6-yard line. A touchdown saving tackle by Cody Sieber stops Josh Matthews at the 6.
Do you see the block Stanko was able to put? He sealed that backside because there was defense in pursuit. Now, he didn't get up and man up to block an offensive lineman type block, but he was able to get in his way enough where Matthews had an easily down the seam, and it was a foot race. Nice job, Vince.
45 seconds on the clock. Shotgun for Stanko. Before half, 2 receivers either side. Matthews gets the carry up the middle. Not much there. Taken down immediately at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd down and goal from the, did he lose a yard? Say the 8-yard line. Timeout on the field. North takes it. We'll keep it right here. 32 seconds right before half. 14-0. Boyd leading, but McKinney North knocking on the door.
And Monty, the fact now that the Bulldogs only have 1 timeout kind of goes back to add one into the mistake column. They were facing a dead ball penalty for a delay of game, and they ended up calling a timeout to save the penalty, and now they've got 1 timeout when they've got a 2nd and goal from what the scoreboard says the 7 with 30 seconds left. That could play a factor.
And a big miscue by North, of course, was the field goal attempt that was It wasn't blocked. It was a bad snap that Cody Sieber, the holder, not Cody Sieber, Cody Sieber made the play on the holder, Brenton Griffin.
And there was really nothing Brenton could do because that wasn't a good snap. I mean, you just add it to the list. You know, this hasn't been in any way, shape, or form a well-played game.
Not at all.
But again, even though they're two McKinney schools, it's non-district.
But an entertaining one.
Oh, you bet.
Darren Alves is over 100 yards and thrown 2 touchdowns.
Well, and any time you can invoke the name of Benny Hill, something has to be entertaining.
And, you know, if I know Gene very well, he's somehow already got that.
I hope
Benny
so.
Hill theme.
I hope so. Gene's the best.
2nd down and goal from the 7-yard line for McKinney North here. 32 seconds before half. Stanko thought about going under center, now backs up. 2 receivers to the left. Barking, gets it, looks right, throws right in the end zone. Chris Allen, it's touchdown time in Texas. McKinney North is on the board. 14-6 awaiting the PAT.
You can almost say there was a push-off there, but it was Parker Bolinas who did the pushing off. That's the strange thing is when he made his cut, Parker goes backwards, and you know when the receiver makes his cut the opposite way that there can't be a push-off of that magnitude there because the momentum doesn't carry it that way. That was an odd play, and I don't know if this is another one you say add to the list of mistakes, but Parker's usually a lot better in the coverage.
And Bryson Long, the left-footed kicker, on for the extra point. And the kick is up, and it is good. 14-7 with 28 seconds left to go before half. Boyd in the lead at Ron Post Stadium. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Post Stadium. Monty Walker along with Brandon Helms, Kevin McPherson, and Jonathan Leidy. And Jared Foyt in the booth with us again this year. Kevin, how about a scoring drive recap?
McKinney North scoring drive, 8 plays, 73 yards, 3 minutes and 10 seconds, capped by the Vince Stanko 8-yard pass to Chris Allen. By the way, Josh Matthews accounted for 50 yards on the ground in that drive.
Mike's economy transmission scoring drive recap. Thank you very much, Kevin. 14-7, McKinney Boyd in the lead, 28 seconds left to go before half. Don't count out a score right here. Ooh, did he step over the line there? Bryson Long stepped over the line. They didn't call it. His left foot actually stepped across the line. Got to be careful over there. And the kick's going to be a low line drive kick. It's going to bounce at the 4. And will it be taken out? It will be Pittman taking it out. And he spins out of one tackle. Up to the 10, 15, 20, look out. 30, 35, great block to the 50, down the sideline. 42-yard line in North Territory, 16 seconds on the clock. And if you've got Darren Alves, you've got a shot.
Boy, Deontay Hudson's just kicking himself. He was the one who was streaking down there and really had a chance to just get what one of my coaches in high school called a slobber knocker tackle, where the ball carrier's just not ready for you. You've got all the momentum, but for whatever reason, Pittman's able to spin out of that one. And once he spun out, I don't know where the rest of the Boyd coverage or the Bulldog coverage team was because it was virtually non-existent.
57 yards on the return by Pittman. And Boyd actually with a shot here from the North 43-yard line. Alves in the gun. And a false start again. Is that 10 or 11? We're losing track.
His pins broke.
10 penalties. 10 penalties for McKinney Boyd in the first half.
But I tell you, you could have 16 seconds on the clock like we do now, and you've got 99 yards to go, and it's doable with this team. I mean, that's the truth.
Chase Ennis will line up wide right. Alves in the gun, throws left and underneath, and that's Pittman, I believe, maybe Robinson. Very hard to tell those two guys apart. One wears 15, the other 25, and that one's 25, which is Robinson. He makes the catch, 9 seconds on the clock, and Boyd will call a timeout. He didn't have a chance to get out of bounds. It was right over the hash, and he makes a move and goes down. So 9 seconds on the clock. Boyd up 14-7. trying to punch it in here from the 35-yard line of McKinney North.
Well, that might actually have been a smart play, not getting out of bounds. You're under 16 seconds, still have all 3 of your timeouts, and in the position he was, it might have used up more time trying to get out of bounds, and then even that it wasn't a guarantee that he would have, because there were some Bulldog defenders between him and the sideline that could have gotten there. So what he did a smart thing, tried to get as much yardage as he could, and then when he was touched, he goes down, and then they immediately call a timeout. That's one of the few times today we can actually say that was a smart play.
All right, 9 seconds. Here we go. Here comes Darren Alves and company. Don Drake's talking to him a little bit. Now he yells back something at him.
Would you expect a trick play here? I mean, I don't know that I would at this early in the season.
Maybe not in week 1.
Yeah, but they were talking a long time.
Safeties are lined up very deep on the 15-yard line. Alves drops back under pressure, steps up, gets out of one tackle. He's at the 40. He's going to have to run. 35, 30, coming near side. Look out. 30, escapes one tackle, another tackle. 15, 10, 5. Darren Alves at the 1-yard line. And time has expired. What an incredible run by Darren Alves, but it's all for naught. He's out at the 1-yard line, and John Alexander saves the touchdown. Wow. 44-yard run by Darren Alves.
Unfortunately, it wasn't a 45er for Boyd, but, you know, again, that's one of those plays that looks like busted. There's the defensive end coming on the far side, has his hands on the guy, for crying out loud. And you know what? My first thought was, well, he's down. My first thought is, I bet he's getting out of this one just as he has 100 times before, gets out of it, goes across the field, and basically ran out of real estate. I mean, that's it. If the out of bounds was 1 yard wider, that's a touchdown.
I've been doing this for 15 years now. There's only one other kid that compares to him in those 15 years, and that's Corey Robertson in Denison. But I think Darren has him beat. This kid is unbelievable to watch. And I tell you, if you're a soccer mom at home and you just listen to KLAK on the weekdays and you like the Olympics just for their athleticism, you got to watch this kid, Darren Alves from McKinney Boyd. You'll love it. You'll absolutely love it.
There's no question about it. And I've called some pretty big teams, the Arlington, ISD. There's some good DISD schools, kids that come out and get a Division I scholarship. But I can honestly say, if you're looking for pure excitement and you don't know what's going to happen next kind of player, this is it. I've never seen a guy who has this kind of athleticism, who can literally take something at Monty. He could play 2 on 11. Get some decent blocks in there from that one person. Seriously.
Some blocks from the one person.
1 or 2, and he can make something out of it. Make it Cameron Mazer, and all of a sudden you've got a...
as crazy as that sounds, I think you're probably right.
Huh? You know what I mean? I mean, right there, he had 2 blockers and was able to get around 4, 5, 6 Bulldogs on his way down. And, we're gushing over a 44-yard non-touchdown run at the end of the half. I mean, come on. I mean, this is just amazing.
By the way, welcome to the American Bank of Texas halftime show. We're going to take a break here so we can get caught up on things. 14-7, McKinney Boyd in the lead at the half at Ron Post Stadium. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Post Stadium. Monty Walker along with Brandon Helms, Kevin McPherson, Jonathan Leidy. And it's 14-7, McKinney Boyd in the lead over McKinney North. Again, it's still the American Bank of Texas halftime shows. The band's still out on the field, as you can hear. They do a great job out there. And that, it just reminds me, this is Texas high school football. This is what it's all about. You're back. It's week 0 or week 1 when you hear the band on Friday night. What a great feeling it is to be back in the booth. And I tell you what, 15 years. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, but no, what a fun ride.
You're surprised at how fast the years add up. And it's funny, I was talking to somebody earlier today telling them, Fridays are a lot of fun. And I was like, think back to the time you played sports in high school. And I asked him, did you play? And he goes, yeah. And I said, it's like your first game of the season, only you get to do it every year. You don't graduate when you're a senior. And I don't want to sound cheesy or emotional or sentimental or whatever, but it still brings excitement.
Well, this is going to be a sad situation here. October the 11th, Howe is having a 10-year versus 20-year flag football game to raise money.
And you're not going?
I'm going to somehow hobble my way out there and play flag football on that 10-year versus. It's the 88 Bulldogs versus the 98 Bulldogs, both by-district teams. But I actually didn't play until 89, but the old-timers are allowing the 87, 89 guys to play with those 88 teams, so I'm somehow going to hobble on the field. But that'll be a lot of fun to see a lot of those guys from way back then that I haven't seen in a long time. But, that's something that if you play high school football, it's some sort of a fraternity that you're locked in with other guys for the rest of your life. And that's what it's all about here. And it's happening right now on the field. 14-7, McKinney Boyd leading McKinney North.
And, even barring, specific rivalries, like I'm pretty sure Sherman and Denison rivalries wouldn't sit together and say, oh, we're all part of a fraternity. But even strangers on the football field. And you know what? I guarantee if somebody from Louisiana came over and said, you can't play Texas football, Sherman and Denison would get together. It's like your siblings. I can do whatever I want to, but you sure can't. It's kind of like that feeling, and there is some rivalry even amongst the rivalry.
Yeah,
and it's just you hear a lot about sports. Sometimes good and bad, but this is the good of sports. I mean, it really brings camaraderie together. And when it's played right and played with sportsmanship, it doesn't really build a lot more character. I can't think of anything else that does it. And I'm not saying there's not. I'm just not thinking of anything.
Every team has a rival. Every team has somebody that's their rival, whether it be Sherman and Denison, Howe and Van Alstyne, McKinney and McKinney North, Frisco and Frisco Center, whoever. Somebody has a rivalry. And this one tonight is starting out to be a pretty good rivalry with McKinney Boyd and McKinney North, but it was so much fun. I don't think you were with me, Brandon, but the very first crosstown showdown, McKinney and McKinney North in 2004 was an unbelievable, spectacular scene out here that night. I believe it was October 1st, 2004, and McKinney was the home team that night. Jared Foyt, in the booth with us here, was on that team, and the entire home crowd was gold everywhere, just a sea of gold. On the other far sideline, it was orange. Actually, I think I have them flip-flop, but you get the picture.
Who cares? I got the picture.
You get the picture here. One side, and I'm not talking about a halfway crowd. An entire full crowd, SRO, standing room only. And that was an unbelievable sight that night. And the football game actually played out pretty well, too. And I think Jared Foyt actually came out on top that night, if I do remember correctly. Let's talk down with Jonathan Leidy down on the sidelines. Jonathan, what do you got for us?
Guys, as we were talking about during the halftime, it's actually getting pretty humid down here on the field, and I'm actually looking for cramps to maybe even start setting in. So let's see who the best conditioned team is going to be in the second half, and that might be what's going to decide this game. Back up to y'all.
I almost thought he was saying he was going to get so humid, guys, I can't do any more sideline reports. You got a cramp.
We did one time. We did a game down in Florida. We did Denison versus the North Carolina team down in Florida back in 1999, and our sideline guy at that point, his name was Jason Smith. And he got to playing around in some of those activities at Disney World, and he turns his ankle, and our sideline guy has to get his ankle taped before the game. Never has that happened in Texas high school football. I'm quite sure.
I'm sure John Leidy will set a couple of firsts before his tenure's done.
McKinney Boyd comes back out on the field, as you can hear, and across the way, McKinney North coming through their big orange bulldog head tunnel as it now collapses. Once again, Boyd in their red uniforms. We haven't seen a whole lot of those reds, as they also have a dark navy uniform. Most all the time, they'll either wear the white pants or the gray pants. They're in white tonight. I've never seen gray pants with red uniforms. If they wear the red tops, they always wear the white pants.
Does Ole Miss wear red and gray?
I think so.
That's the only one I could think of off the top of my head. But I do like those red uniforms. Those are pretty sharp. Now, I've always liked the deep red in football colors.
We're just about ready for the second half now. The captains have already made their way back out on the field. And now both teams are on the field. And Boyd's about to line up to kick this ball away. We haven't mentioned, on the field is a junior. His name's Connor Frazier. He wears the number 9. And the number 9 is very, very large on him. He is by far the smallest guy on the field tonight, and he's starting at cornerback. It's a 5'5", 145-pound junior, Connor Frazier. His dad works for Roger Staubach and Emmett Smith. So he knows a little bit about football.
Yeah,
right?
Probably just a little. And, you can look to the Boyd guys and see you can have a small cornerback who can play right up with the big boys. Parker Beline is one of the top CBs in the district.
How about the state's biggest 5A game? Rice 28, SMU 20, third quarter.
Come on, SMU.
Thanks to our Denison play-by-play guy up north, Lynn Burkhead.
Was that his joke?
He shared that. Yeah, that was his joke.
I'm not surprised.
Lynn. Here's the kickoff. It's going to bounce at the 17-yard line and finally picked up by North coming near side. That's John Alexander fighting his way down the sidelines and stopped at the 29-yard line. North will take over first. And the little guy makes the stop, Connor Frazier. He probably doesn't like me calling him that, but he is 5'5". So North will start here, moving right to left towards the south end zone. 11:54 left to go in the third quarter, 14-7. Boyd in the lead.
Not to make it sound like a joke, but I'm trying to find him, but I can't.
They'll actually start now at the 24-yard line, and he is not on the field right now. He was on the depth chart starting tonight, but it's Cody Sieber who's out there at the right cornerback position. And Weston Eubanks has moved over to the safety position. Here's a handoff. Matthews running right tackle way out far side. Has the 30 and crosses the 34-yard line. And the band is right in our ear.
Oh, boy, are they.
Right on the track.
They're excited. But, Monty, I think we also use the first game of the year to kind of gauge where they are for the rest of the year. I think if the Bulldogs can run the ball like they have tonight, they've had some success. I mean, that's going to shape up well for later on down the line, because that's a simple first down play. You get 8 yards. I mean, you have to average 1 yard the next 2 downs to get a first.
Well, you look at each main focal back. Matthews has 115 yards. Alf's well over 100 yards a long time ago. Here's Stanko, quarterback in shotgun, and he digs it out, throws out left side, and some confusion with the receivers there, throwing either for John Alexander or Josh Allen. They were both in the same vicinity. Allen put his right hand up and tipped the ball down. It looked like John Alexander was in line to catch the ball there.
Yeah, that's my assessment of that play, and that's something you got to get ironed out. You don't want to ever have 2 receivers in the same area, because that's the outcome. And it also makes it easier to defend, because now you can defend 2 guys with 1 if you have to. So they got to get that little play ironed out.
3rd down and 2 for McKinney North, moving right to left. 11:43 left to go in the third. Down 14-7. Throwing it out in the flat. Josh Allen makes the catch, looking for somewhere to run. Nowhere to go as he crosses the 35. It's going to be very close to a first down, however. Cody Sieber trying to stop him from making that first down, and this one's going to be close. Is this the first chain pull of the year?
Yeah, I think he's pretty short. The near linesman had the best look at that, and he's sighting it, and it looks like to be about a yard short. And you know what? At this stage of the game, Bonnie, go for it. I don't see anything wrong with that. It's a game that doesn't count towards postseason play. You need to get some momentum going, and it's less than a yard. I mean, this is a quarterback sneak, and you got the first, so I like this call.
They are going to go for it.
And, of course, they may be trying to draw him off sides.
4th and about a foot. Stanko and the quarterback sneak under center, and he fights his way across, enough for the first down. It will be a first down for McKinney North. 10:54 left to go in the third. 14-7, Boyd in the lead.
And see, this is what I was talking about with that first down gain of 8 yards. I mean, if you can rush the ball like that, you set yourself up much better, because if, let's say, they had done these first 2 plays at the beginning of the drive, all of a sudden you're looking at 3rd and 8. That's a whole different scenario.
Josh,
if you can run, you're going to have success.
Josh Allen checks out of the game. Jonathan Lee checks in, and he'll go wide right.
Well, now the band's dead.
John Alexander split out left. And Stanko, handoff. Matthews up the middle. Now he bounces it out right side. He has the 40, has the 45, and down at the 46-yard line, a 9-yard gain for Josh Matthews, and he's stopped by Parker Bolinas.
Well, and again, first down run gets you substantial yardage. This makes it a lot easier when you're dealing with the inexperienced guys. And like John Leidy said at the halftime show, the sidelines have been fairly quiet over there because there's a lack of experience. And this is exactly what you need to build that up momentum, try to get the team going in the right direction.
Whitehouse and Garland, Naaman Forrest tied up at 21 at the half. Right here, 14-7. Boyd over McKinney North. McKinney Boyd, that is. Second down and 1. Stenko in the gun. And he's going to throw the home run ball. Nope, he's going to tuck and run right up the middle. Has the first down into Boyd territory at the 49-yard line. Right on the very top of the Texas. That's in the very middle of the field. The shape of Texas. Josh Russell makes the stop for Boyd. And the ball is resting somewhere in the top of the panhandle right now.
And see, and again, another great example of what rushing the ball can do for you. That was a play. They were going to look to go deep, but the pocket started collapsing. Stenko had the foresight to go ahead and escape the pocket when he had a hole in front of him, and it just allows you a lot more options.
9:25 and rolling in the third. Stenko sends a man in motion. That's Allen. Allen gets the carry, running all the way across to the right side and out of bounds after about a 3-yard gain, maybe 4. But he stepped out of bounds or ran straight out of bounds, and it may only be a 2-yard gain. It'll be second down and 8 at the Boyd 47-yard line.
I know it's just the first game, but it seems quiet out there, doesn't it to you?
It's very quiet.
I mean, since the band stopped playing, I mean, I know it's the first week and all, but, you know, this is it's a one-possession difference right now. It's a pretty good game, and the Bulldogs' offense are looking really nice right now.
Well, the Bulldog fans on the far
That's
sideline, but still being very quiet over there. Matthews in motion to the left side, and Stenko rolls out, being pressured, and it is taken over by Keith Owens, who takes the ball away from Stenko. He took it away, and he goes down to the 23-yard line. He took it away.
It's not hard to do, and you're surprised you don't see that more because he was in his passing motion. And keep in mind, he's a right-handed quarterback rolling out to his left, so the ball is going to be towards the pressure situation as he cocked back. Nice job there just taking it away. And then Colton Duncan for the Bulldogs made, again, we said it once before, that's a touchdown-saving tackle from your lineman. There was nobody else who's going to get close to him.
Owens, who made a great play in this game last year, recovering a fumble down in the end zone. And here's a bad snap over the head of Alves, who has to go way back to the 50-yard line. Picks it up. He's got 9 people chasing him. All the way back to the 40. Coming right side. Makes a man miss. And it goes down at the 49-yard line shy of midfield. I've never seen a better 25-yard loss in my life.
I was about to say, Monty, would it surprise you if he gained yardage on that play? He didn't, but I would have no problem imagining him, especially because that's a breakdown play and the defense is out of position. You know what? That's also because you got an athletic guy like Al's, a situation where he could have thrown it if he'd had a receiver. And that's what that kind of athleticism does for you.
Second down and 33 after the bad snap over the head of Alves.
What do you think the odds are of getting a first down here? It's a lot higher than it normally is.
Well, they have 3 receivers spread out wide left, 1 to the near side. 1 man in the backfield is Mazer. Another bad snap. Alves digs it out, and he's running for his life. Throws it out. It's caught by Mazer, who makes the catch and goes down at the 45-yard line in North territory. So about a 6-yard gain there after what looked like a big loss was about to happen.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to that athleticism that we talk about. And that could easily have been a situation where he could have lost yardage, but he had a guy in front of him and he had the vision to see it. And like I said on the play earlier, the defense was out of position. He found a guy this time and he was able to make a positive gain. I mean, there's not a lot he doesn't do.
Here's Alves, digs it out, throws it down, wants to throw the home run ball down the right side. And it is a great play by the receiver, Ennis, who broke up the interception that was about to happen.
Well, and then on top of that, Ennis almost caught it out of the air anyway because it bounced off the cover guy there, Jordan Foster. But I'm telling you, Monty, this is a pretty exciting game at this point. I mean, and it feels hard because the energy's not there coming from the crowd, but this is a one-possession game, and these teams don't want to lose to the other. I mean, that's pretty simple.
Jordan Foster, I thought, was going to make the catch.
I did too.
Playing center field on a short throw by Darren Alves.
And then on the other side, I thought Ennis might have gotten it off the bounce. I mean, that was a pretty good play.
Here's Alves back to punt. It's a low-line drive punt. It's going to go out of bounds.
Ooh.
Oh, no, it doesn't. It bounced near the out-of-bounds marker, but didn't. It rolls inside the 5 to the 2-yard line. So Alves, a great punt. 42 yards, pins McKinney North back at their own 2, well, maybe call it 3-yard line.
That's what you call a Bronco roll right there. I mean, it looked like it was going to go out about the 12-yard line, and there's a big, big difference in how you operate your offense from the 12-yard line versus the 2-yard line. And now I can guarantee you the Bulldogs will play a little bit more conservative than they would otherwise, because one small mistake here and you're giving points to the other side.
7:13 on the third quarter clock. McKinney Boyd up 14-7 over big brother McKinney North. North has to go 97 yards to tie this football game.
And it's also funny you say that, considering the Boyd roster is almost twice the size of the
Yeah.
North roster.
Yeah, exactly.
So that just seems oxymoronic in several ways.
Well, North has struggled a little bit with the addition of Boyd, taking players away.
And you can almost bet that caused them last year problems.
And this is going to be Matthews up the middle, getting the carry at 5, 10, 15, foot race, 20, 25, 30, look out, 40, 45, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5, 97 yards. Josh Matthews goes 97 yards, the longest score in McKinney North history.
That might be MISD history.
14-13, Josh Matthews awaiting the PAT for McKinney North. 97 yards. When he hit the 20-yard mark, it was a foot race, and he won it.
Man, there's not going to be a whole lot of guys who are going to be able to catch him.
Wow.
He's a pretty fast guy out on the field. If you've got an open lane, it's going to take one of your fastest guys to catch him.
Well, here's Bryson Long for the extra point, left-footed kicker. It's up, and it's true. We've got a tie ball game with 6:59 left to go in the third. Grab your socks and pull. Might be a good finish. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Post Stadium. Monty Walker and the rest of the game. We're about to be ready for the JBS Express kickoff. Why don't we do a Mox Economy transmission scoring drive recap?
One play, 97 yards on the run by Josh Allen, puts him over 200 yards for the game. And as you said, Monty, the longest play in McKinney North history.
And Bryson Long will tee it up now. I have to go through my little record book here and see if I actually have the other longest play. I'll have to look that up.
I'm sure it can't be too extensive. You know, they've only been playing for this decade.
I did at one point have some statistics on that kind of thing, but I don't think I have them with me tonight.
Just be glad you're not having to go through MHS.
I would guess that Randy Simmons might have something to do with that over at McKinney High back in the 80s. Here's the kick, and it's going to be taken at the 15-yard line by Montarius Pittman. Coming up left side. He's got some room. He's got the right hash. He's got the 49-yard line, 1 yard shy of midfield. And now a late flag comes in right at the midfield stripe. Emilio Diaz makes the stop for McKinney North, and a great return there by Pittman.
Yeah, and this is exactly what the Broncos wanted. You know, when you get a 97-yard return or a touchdown run, obviously you don't have momentum on your side, but if you can come back, get a good play on your return, all of a sudden you're going to get a little bit back, and they have.
34-yard return by Pittman there, and we've seen that tonight. Special teams, you know, it's just like the preseason football games you see with the Cowboys. Special teams have been a problem because you don't practice that a whole lot in the early going, and this is going to be against North.
Boy, add another to the list. I mean, that's another big one. That's a 15-yard face mask.
Well,
late hit, I'm sorry. Either way, 15 yards is 15 yards, and I'm telling you, just after you're able to solidly grab a hold of the momentum, you don't want to give a big play and then a 15-yard penalty to the other side. I don't care who you are.
Ball spotted at the 37-yard line. Boyd has it in North territory, moving toward the north end zone, left to right. Mazer In the backfield along with Alves. Gets it. Alves going to run left guard. Ooh, he's met right at the line of scrimmage, and actually behind the line of scrimmage. A great play by Alex Laudenschlager, who met him right at the line of scrimmage. And I think he might have known what the play was.
Yeah, I think if they're going to have success on defense, they're going to have to start with that offensive line. And it's funny you talk about Alex, how his progression has happened throughout the years on defense, and now all of a sudden he goes from the secondary to the defensive line. That's why. He's a strong kid, and he's a smart kid. He was able to get in the backfield and take Darren Alves down, and not a lot of people can say that.
4-yard loss. Alves throws it over the flat to Joseph Robinson, escapes one tackler, going for a first down. Is going to be a little bit short at the 30, actually the 27-yard line. A nice play by Alves to dump it over a lineman's head. Frank King makes the stop for McKinney North. But I thought that was going to be trouble again for Alves, but they were just setting up the screen, what basically amounts to a screen.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they did, is they used the aggressiveness of the Bulldog defense against them by letting everybody get past the intended receiver.
Mazer once again in the backfield with Alves. 3rd down and short. Alves wants to run right side, now up the middle. Now spinning, juking, jiving, first down. 24-yard line for Darren Alves. 5:31 left to go in the 3rd. All tied up 14-14 at Ron Poe Stadium.
It's not likely to be a highlight reel play right there, but that's one of the big plays so far in this game, because that sets up a first down inside the 25-yard line, and this is where the Bronco offense really is solid.
97 out of 100 quarterbacks take that play for a loss. I don't know who the other two guys, but one of them's Darren Alves. Alves throws it out right side to screen play, and this is going to be Pittman with the ball, getting a great block over there, and Pittman goes down inside the 15 to the 14-yard line. And on the block was Chase Ennis out there providing the path for Pittman.
Yeah, and you talk about the block, and while that definitely was a good block, it was also a smart play by Deontay Moore, because he let the blocker take with him but still kept his footing and didn't allow Pittman to get on either side of him, allowing the pursuit of the Bulldog defense to come up and help him out.
Ennis split out wide right, Grant Gibson wide left. Robinson, the slot, goes in motion, stands behind Alves. And he gets the carry right up the middle. Now he bounces out right. Fumble! There's a fumble on the play, and North has it. One of the safeties came up sprinting towards the ball. Josh Allen comes up with the football, and another turnover.
Boy, and I tell you what, Monty, I don't know that I coached this, but if he can somehow been able to keep his feet there, it would have been close. I'm not going to say he would have. He would have had to outrun Alves, and that's not an easy proposition. But that would have been a big deal. As it is, he does the smart, fundamentally solid thing, hops on the ball. Not only does it kill the Bronco drive, but it also gives you a chance to grab that momentum back and start another drive of your own. Well, what's going on? It's a totally different team, the Bulldogs, from the first half to the second half. And how much of these Bronco mistakes coming back to hurt them now?
They may be catching up. Stanko and company come back out on the field, moving right to left. Shotgun for Stanko, and he'll hand off up the middle. That's Matthews. He doesn't go 97 this time. He only goes 1 up to the 20-yard line. So it'll be 2nd down and 9 with 4:09 left to go here in the 3rd. All knotted up, 14 apiece. McKinney North, McKinney Boyd. And Stanko will stay out there, 2nd down and 9. He's played just about the entire game. Brenton Griffin came out for the first couple of series, but Stanko's been out just about the entire game. Matthews will stand to the right behind Stanko, who rolls out right, throws, and it's caught by Chris Allen at the 27-yard line. Allen having a tremendous ball game as Parker Bolinas brings him down. 5 catches for Chris Allen now, trying to take the place of David Douglas.
Exactly. I couldn't have come up with better. Go ahead, and I'll get to this point.
Well, by the way, speaking of David Douglas, he graduated, but he left his numbers of 136 catches, 2,185 yards. That's a McKinney North record. 23 touchdown receptions. That's a record. And a single season record as well. And here's another flag. We may have a record for flags tonight.
Yeah, I want you to look that one up. But, you talk about David Douglas, Monty. One of the things that made Herrick Herbal so special was he had David Douglas to throw to. And that's kind of my hope here with the Bulldogs, as, by the way, it's a false start against the Bulldogs, that could help Stanko out, is finding his David Douglas, finding a guy that he's going to throw to and say, you know what, I know you're going to catch it, so I'm not pressured so much to make a play.
Apparently that guy's Chris Allen.
I think so. I mean,
5 catches tonight. Well over 100. No, 57 yards. 52 yards. 52 yards.
We'll get it straight. We're working out some kinks here.
Matthews behind Stanko, and Matthews is going to throw. This time he has Hudson in the flat. Hudson's very quick. 30, 35, down the sideline, 40, 45, cutting it to the 50, and finally tackled by Parker Bolinas in Boyd territory at the 47-yard line. Okay,
calm down just a little bit.
Deontay Hudson on the catch.
You don't want to get an unsportsmanlike conduct after just getting a first down. You got to keep your head in the game. It's a tie ball game, but you know what, Monty? I mean, this Bulldog offense looking very similar to the one 2 years ago. Not quite. I don't want to go that far, but they're running it, they're passing it, they're making smart plays.
I'll tell you one thing. Vince Stanko has been very efficient tonight, if anything. Much different quarterback than what we saw later on or midway through last year.
Yeah, you bet. And if he can do this all year, North will have success, I guarantee you.
First down and 10 for North at their own 43-yard line. He apparently stepped out of bounds before the midfield stripe. Going to deep down the right side, and Parker Bolinas breaks it up, trying to hit Jonathan Lee way out on the far side. So it'll be second down and 10 with 2:48 left to go in the third. 14-14. McKinney North and McKinney Boyd at Ron Post Stadium.
Yeah, not a good job out there on the receiver. You never want to see your receiver with his back to the end zone looking at a pass, because of one of two things: either it's hugely underthrown, which that wasn't the case, or he's not judging the ball accurately. And when he goes over your head as a receiver and you've got your back to the end zone, something didn't work right.
Second down and 10 for McKinney North. Moving right to left. Tony Brown into the game. Now goes in motion. And handoff Matthews running right tackle right behind Tony Brown. And the right tackle Devontae Fields. And he'll gain 3, maybe 4 yards out to the 46-yard line. So it'll be third and long here, 3rd and 7 with 2:28 as we near the end of the third quarter. Again, 14-14. A great ball game other than the penalties. It's been very sloppy, but at least it's been close.
Yeah, and entertaining. You know, I'll take a sloppy, entertaining game versus a fundamentally sound, boring game. I'll take that any day.
3rd and 7, 2 minutes. Stanko rolling right, throws right, caught by Tony Brown, steps out of bounds, and he nears the first down mark. I think he stepped out a couple of yards short, right at the 50, and he needed about the 48.
Yep.
So he needed the 47, actually, so he needs 3 yards on 4th down. So do you punt here?
Yeah, I think you pretty much have to. I mean, this isn't a quarterback sneak situation, and it looks like Coach I always enjoy it when Coach Pratt agrees with me, because it means I'm in good company. But, you know, I mean, you don't want to give Boyd half the field, because they can capitalize on that real easily. But on the other end of the spectrum, you don't want to lose the momentum either, which you can hold on to for any period of time.
Jonathan Lee is going to go back to punt, and he takes a running start. I have never seen a punter take a running start like that. Bounces up to 20 and rolls horizontally down that 15-yard line back towards the near side, and it will roll dead there at the 15. So, back and forth. Here we go. McKinney Boyd back out on the field with a $1:08 left to go in the third, tied up 14-14.
I'm officially proposing we change our sideline guy's name, so that way there's no confusion between him and Jonathan Lee, because you've done that twice. I'm thinking, we got a report coming. Oh, no, it's just the punter.
You know, we probably ought to check down with Jonathan Leidy here pretty soon. We'll see if he's got anything coming up. Alves and company come back out on the field.
And, you know, Monty, that's a good solid punt there from Lee. Puts Boyd Boyd inside their 15. And now from here on out, you've got a long field to work with, and you've got the momentum. What you want to do in this situation is hold on to it with them deep in their own territory.
Kevin McPherson says a 35-yard punt for Jonathan Lee. Alves left-handed throwing out. Chase Ennis makes the catch, but a great play A tremendous play by Stephon Hurd, the cornerback, 5'9", 150-pound junior. Read the play immediately and met him in the backfield.
Yeah, solid job by both him and the cornerback Deontay Moore. Both of them were headed to Allen right as the ball was thrown. And you can't cover better than that. And the good news for the Bulldogs, there's only one blocker. So if they both react that fast, somebody should make a play.
Mazer in the backfield along with Alves. Alves runs left, trying to find a block from Mazer. Doesn't need one. Now gets one. Now has a first down to the 27-yard line. He just took off running to the left side, sprinting on the sweep. He wasn't even touched until he already had a first down.
And again, we talk about the athletic ability of Alves, and Monty will be the first to say it's definitely there, but he's also gets a lot of his yards because he has great blockers. And I'm not saying that he's not a great runner without him, because he certainly is, but he's an even better one with him.
Well, he has 152 yards at this point tonight. 22 seconds left to go in the third. Pittman will now come in motion and stand with him in the backfield. And Pittman gets the carry, running right guard, and escapes one tackle and comes up to the 35-yard line. Actually hits one of his own guys, Cameron Mazer, and goes down finally in the arms of Deontay Moore, the sophomore cornerback from McKinney North.
If I've seen one weakness from the Dog Pound D, it's the missed tackles, Monty. They've had way too many for any defensive coordinator to be happy with. You could have one missed tackle and the defensive coordinator's not happy with it.
That's the end of the third quarter. We're all tied up 14-14 at Ron Post Stadium. McKinney North and McKinney Boyd back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Post Stadium. Monty Walker with the rest of the gang here. It's second down for McKinney Boyd, and they hand off to Pittman, running left side. First down and more to the 45, up to the 49-yard line, shy of midfield. A great run by Montarius Pittman, and he's finally taken down by Frank King, the weekend.
Yeah, as good as run as that was, Monty, that was also even better blocking. You couldn't set up a scene better than that. That would make Vince Lombardi proud.
First down and 10. You never know who's going to pop into our broadcast. Vince Lombardi.
Benny Hill.
First down and 10 from the 49. Boyd has it at their own 49. Three receivers to the right. Alves runs to the right. Now cuts, comes left. Tony Dorsett, look out. 50, 45, spun out of bounds at the 43-yard line. And Alves, they were worried about him for a moment. The referees came running over. But you can't hurt that kid, I don't believe. Desmond
Knock
Wardlaw.
on wood. Knock on wood.
Desmond Wardlaw made the stop for McKinney North.
Could you just see the next play coming?
Shy of a first down there for Alves. It'll be second down and 1.
But, Monty, you look at that horse collar tackle, that's going to happen a lot to that guy, because sometimes that's all the defenders can do because he's so quick and they have to make a last-minute lunge. So I'm sure he's used to it by now.
Gibson to the near side. Alves throws that way. Gibson has it, drops it, catches it again, and goes out of bounds at the about the 33-yard line. He's done that twice. The ball's come in his hands, and it's been tipped up, and he goes up and brings it back. That's twice he's done that.
Yeah, and luckily the first time for the Bulldogs, they were able to bring him down before he could come in control of it. That time nobody was around. There was. You can see the cornerbacks are giving them 10 yards of space, and I'm not sure that these are guys you need to give 10 yards to.
And 11-19 left to go in the game. 14-14. Alves hands off up the middle. Pittman bounces out right side. He's got the 30. Ooh, makes a great move. Spinning out of a tackle at the 25-yard line. He's been watching Darren Alves. And they say, is there a fumble? Oh, there is a fumble. And McKinney North has it at the 25-yard line. North with a great play, and is it Josh Allen coming up again with the ball?
Well, somebody's making a case for player of the game.
Allen was the last man up. I don't know if he had the ball or not, but that's usually a pretty good indicator. And McKinney North will take over at the 24-yard line. Let's check down with Jonathan Leidy. Go ahead, John.
Guys, these Boyd players down here getting pretty frustrated with that's 2 fumbles in a row by the running back, and it's just building emotion down here that's not very good for them. Back up to y'all.
All right, thanks, John. And I'll tell you something, Monty. We talk about momentum. Boy, is it squarely in the side of the north sideline. I mean, this is just sapped the energy out of the Broncos.
Stanko in the gun, moving left to right for McKinney North, throwing it down the field, wide open, and he overshoots John Alexander. The cornerback actually fell down. That was Connor Frazier. The 5'5" cornerback actually fell down and left John Alexander all alone and wide open, but Stanko just overthrew him by a step.
Well, I tell you, if Frazier hadn't have fallen, it might have been a little bit greater pass. Because he fell, their feet got tangled up, and Frazier's the only one who fell, but it slowed him down just enough to where the pass was over his head. Boy, I tell you, big bullet dodge there by the Broncos.
2nd down and 10 for McKinney North. 2 receivers to the right side. Stanko wants to throw left side, in and out of the hands of John Alexander, and that'll fall incomplete, bring up 3rd down. You know, an interesting decision here to throw the ball on 1st and 2nd down for the McKinney North Bulldogs. They've had a lot of success. Obviously, the 97-yard touchdown run by Josh Matthews, but deciding to throw it here on 1st and 2nd down.
But again, it is Coach Pratt doing what unexpected. You know, I mean, he's never a guy who's just going to sit back and do what's working. He's going to try to find something else that's going to work too and catch you off guard.
3rd down, and North is 1 out of 6 on 3rd downs tonight.
Well, and it's not going to be easy here, 3rd and 10.
And they'll probably have to throw here, obviously. Stanko drops back, rolls right, looking, throwing, and he overshoots his receiver again, trying to hit Chris Allen. And it'll be punt time for McKinney North. So 3 passes and 3 incomplete passes, and here we go.
Well,
and we have an injury. And I believe that's Deontay Hudson.
Either that or Chris Allen, but I don't think it's Allen.
We do this every year. Every year we do this. He has a cramp. And the first week, second week, we always have cramps out on the field. It's so humid out there. And these guys we always have at least one.
You know, that's one thing I've never understood. I'm going to get to a point in just a moment, but you got these guys practice in the middle of the day, 4 or 5 hours at a time, and they come to the game and they cramp up.
It's a different beast being in a football game.
Sure, and if you look at the surface, it doesn't make sense. But I mean, you go. And I don't think any coach wants to hear this, and no player will admit it. You go different speed during the game. But, you know, I want to go back to a point, Monty. You talked about 3 incomplete passes, and while Stanko could have thrown better passes, all 3 of those passes were catchable. You know, the first one was a situation where the defender and the offender got tangled up just a little bit, enough that the receiver wasn't able to recover. The second one was in and out of the hands of the receiver. And the third one was just a lazy cut. And by the time he's thrown in the air, then he goes full speed. If you make that cut full speed, that ball's right where it needs to be. If not, it's at least within catching range.
Well, Deontay Hudson will get up and walk off here. And now he stops somewhere in Lubbock on the Texas in the middle of the field. Now he starts walking again. I believe that's Hudson.
It's hard to tell if that's a 5 or a 9. And I'm sure it's not a 9.
Still trying to figure that out. I thought it was Deontay Hudson, who is number 5. But I think you're right. I think it's a 9, and that would be Akeem Jackson.
And it's tough to tell. You know, Monty, you talked about you wonder why there were 3 straight passes. You know, Josh Matthews, he's working on 20 carries. It's a decent amount of carries. He's got 226 yards.
Well, Bryson Long will come back into punt, so we won't see the steppity-step from Jonathan Lee here. Long, the left-footed punter. And he does the same thing. He takes 3 or 4 steps, a running start, and punts it away, but it's a good punt. Kevin McPherson's totaling it up. It's a 40-yard punt for Bryson Long.
It kind of makes you wonder, are they setting up a fake punt with that? You know, I mean, think about it. If you run 4, 5, 6 steps, and that's what they see in the films, then they're going back when you go, and all of a sudden you go, oh, I'm just saying.
I mean, it almost looks like a kickoff. He's taking a running start like a crow hop in baseball from the outfielder.
Right.
Both punters. It's not just one, both of them.
And even Alves does it to a degree when he punts.
What are they doing?
Well, something in the water, McKinney makes your punters run to the
Run to the line of scrimmage and punt it away. Try to get all the yards you can get.
Well, yeah, I suppose that's one way of looking at it.
Here's Alves. He's going to run to the left side. Gets a block from Mazer. Great block. Alves sprung free. 45, 40. Look out. 30, 20, 10. Kiss him goodbye. Darren Alves from 54 yards out unnotched this game and gives Boyd the lead with 10:32 left to go in the fourth. 20-14 awaiting the PAT.
Would you say he runs the 4-4 now?
He might.
Untouched. And granted, a great block from Mazer made him untouched. I'm not sure if that block isn't made that he's still able to at least get into the end zone. But still, a great block, great run.
And the streak is alive. He's rushed a touchdown in every game he's played. Here's Richardson on for the PAT. And that one is good. And I'm sure in a moment you'll be hearing Pinball Wizard. 21-14. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Well, the Pinball Wizard is back, and he has made an appearance tonight. And Darren Alves has scored now in every football game the young man has ever played in on varsity. It's 21-14. McKinney Boyd in the lead. Let's do a Mike's Economy Transmission scoring drive recap.
Play 64 yards on the touchdown, 11 seconds for Darren Alves, who now cracks the 200-yard mark, 225 yards on 16 carries.
Wow. Here's the kickoff. And it is the JBS Express kickoff. Josh Allen fumbles it at the 11-yard line, picks it back up. He's got the 15 and down right there. Another miscue by McKinney North, and it's going to cost him field position. Daniel Edgar for Boyd makes the stop. And North deep in their own territory now, instead of trying to tie the game, is going to have to, instead of trying to win the game, is going to have to try to tie it first. And they're going to have to go a long way, 84 yards, something like that. I was told there would be no math. That's why we hired Kevin McPherson.
Yeah, we're still ironing out kinks too, guys. This is our week 0 as well.
84 yards to go for McKinney North. 10:25, plenty of time left in this football game. The way this has gone, there will be 10 more possessions by each team via fumble.
Well, it depends on what quarter we're talking about. You know, that beginning of the third, there were long drives in there.
Well, McKinney North needing a long drive here, a powerhouse I formation. And Griffin back in the ball game at quarterback, and another penalty. So instead of being 1st and 10, it'll be 1st and 15. And instead of being at the 16-yard line, push it back to the 11. So now, 89 yards to go. 10:24 left to go in the game at Ron Post Stadium. McKinney Boyd leading McKinney North 21-14. Chris Allen will come split out wide right. I believe that's Lee split out wide left. That may be Alexander. It is Alexander. And running the option to the left side is Griffin, and he's going to head out to Matthews. And Matthews is stopped in his tracks and a loss on the play. Nice play by Weston Eubanks for McKinney Boyd. And his brother played for McKinney North, Cameron Eubanks, several years ago. But Weston, one of those guys who got caught in the transfer when Boyd opened, and he's over at Boyd. And Weston Eubanks has battled a number of injuries over the years, and good to see him back out on the field. So it'll be 2nd and 18 for McKinney North with 9:48 left to go in this game. Boyd leading 21-14 at Ron Post Stadium. Griffin still in the game at quarterback here on this drive. And he rolls out right, wants to throw from his end zone, throwing it way down the field and incomplete, pushing and grinding going on with John Alexander, the receiver, and Lamar Peoples, the cornerback. Alexander with his arms way out, palms in the air, looking at the official, wondering what's going on, still jawing a little bit, but no flag. And I guess there was a little bit of
Oh, there was definitely
grinded
contact.
going out.
The reason the flag wasn't thrown is because the ball wasn't catchable. And I think what McKinney's at least asking for, or North is rather, what they're asking for is at least give us a hold. Maybe not a full pass interference, but, a hold, because that could have been a hold flag. I don't think it was pass interference because, like I said, I believe it was uncatchable, which is why I don't think the official threw it. But I could see a holding on that play.
3rd down and 18. North has all but abandoned the running game here in the latter part of this game. Griffin wants to throw out of his end zone again. Now flushed down in the pocket, rolling, scrambling, 10, 15, down at the 15-yard line. It'll be 4th and long. They'll have to punt.
Ooh, wait
and now a late flag comes in. Watch out. You may not have to punt.
From all angles.
Landry Kemp, the man on the tackle, 6'2", 230 pounds, had 10 tackles last year.
Boy, if there was an official, they threw a flag.
Yeah, there's obviously a personal foul. Just which direction is it going to be? And it looks like it's against Boyd.
Yeah, clearly it's a late hit. I couldn't tell who came in on the pile, but again, that's a situation where you're over enthusiasm in the game. You're feeling some momentum. You're feeling some adrenaline, and you need to let up. I'm not saying that it's easy, because I can tell you I've had my fair share of games like this where the emotions of the time got to me too. But you got to be better with your judgment, because in the end you're going to hurt your team.
We will have a McKinney Gym Equipment star of the game after this contest, and we're going to have to start thinking about that. Obviously Darren Alves, we could give it to him every game he plays, I'm sure.
It's like Employee of the Month, though. You want to try to spread it around.
Well, 1st and 10 for North after that penalty. Handoff up the middle. Josh Matthews fighting, scrambling. 1st down and more up to the 49-yard line, a yard shy of midfield. Matthews has exploded tonight. Cameron Mazer on the stop for McKinney Boyd. We're totaling up the numbers for Josh Matthews, and it is overwhelming at this point.
Yeah, he's got to be at least a 250.
241
Oh,
yards.
I was off.
For
Not
Josh
much.
Matthews. Wow. I mean, we're talking about Chase Barrett blushing a little bit here.
Almost.
1st and 10.
Let's see him do it sustainably.
1st and 10 for North. Griffin still in the game at quarterback. Hands off Matthews again. Up the middle. Big hole to the 45. Down to the 40. Well, it's shy of the 40. We'll mark him down at the 38-yard line. Almost another 1st down. A 9-yard run for Matthews. And now you're at 250.
It might be an 8-yard run.
Okay, now 249.
Where are they going to... Hey, everybody's working out the kinks. Officials, chain crew, broadcast guys, John Leidy. Of course, I guess that would qualify under broadcast guys. But so far, the big penalty, you got to wonder.
Handoff, Matthews, and he's got another big space right over the right tackle, and another 1st down to the 31-yard line.
And another flag.
And Weston Eubanks makes another stop.
Boy, the umpire was looking right at the pile when that flag came out, so it's likely to be a face mask. Well, I couldn't help but over here Kevin McPherson say that was the personal foul on this drive was the first Boyd penalty. And that, boy, I would rather have 10 penalties and a half than that penalty.
There's 2 now.
Yeah, this one is the second. It's an inadvertent face mask, which is going to move the ball 5 yards further down the field. But I tell you, Monty, Matthews, I like what I see. It's one game. I don't want to get my hopes up. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a personal foul. I missed that one. That's 30 yards and penalties on this drive. Boy, and you get them 4th and 10 if you don't make a late hit inside their own 20. Again, you got to play smart.
1st down and 10 for McKinney North, deep in Boyd territory because of the penalties at the 17-yard line. Griffin, handoff. Matthews up the middle. They stop him this time. No gain for McKinney North. It'll be 2nd down and 10. This is turning into a pretty good ball game here. You take away those penalties. Obviously the first half was just awful, sloppy and penalties. But that's week 0. That's week 1 football.
Yeah, 2 personal fouls though on this drive kind of make you wonder if some of these penalties aren't emotional driven. because those are key plays, key times. Your adrenaline is going, and then you make a bad, dumb mistake.
And for the first time, you're really hot. You're really tired.
Yeah.
You're tired of seeing the guy in front of you.
Yeah.
And here's Griffin, who has to pick the ball up off the turf. Now throws it for Chris Allen at the 10 and down at the 6-yard line. Allen having a great night as well. Parker Bolinas in coverage makes a stop, and he saves a tackle. And they'll mark him actually at the 8-yard line, and Bolinas is down. Right where contact was made, Bolinas is down. And we're in that situation again where, I'd like to take a timeout because every time I do, they pop right up. So let's do that. 6:41 left to go in the game. 21-14. McKinney Boyd in the lead, but McKinney North is pretty close to knocking on the door here at the 8-yard line. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Post Stadium. Parker Bolinas still down at the same place he was a moment ago, right at the 8-yard line. 6:41 left to go in this football game, and McKinney Boyd is on top 21-14. Let's check down with Jonathan Leidy. Jonathan may have something for us. Go ahead.
Guys, as I spoke earlier in the second half, how humid it is down here, and there's no wind to blow any of this humidity out of here. It'd be 10 degrees cooler if it would have just a 5-mile-per-hour wind. But I've been to both sidelines in the last 5 minutes, and I've noticed that there's been several key players on both teams that are having to be re-stretched out by the trainers because they are getting cramps in their legs. So we're going to have to see how that's going to play out in the last 6 minutes and 41 seconds of this game. Back up to y'all.
All right, thanks, John. Every year we talk about, ever since that Philadelphia game about, 8 years ago, pickle juice. It's the John Madden pickle juice story. Every time they get a cramp, we want to talk pickle juice. Well, here's 3rd and 1, a big play for McKinney North. Griffin gets it, handoff. Matthews met in the backfield, a great play right up front by Cody Garrett. The nose guard makes the play.
But he's still strong enough to go forward. This is going to be close, and at this stage of the game, Monty, I'm not going to rule out a going for it. And it looks like he's not going to.
Well, here's a score. Salina 46, Little 0. Prairie Land 43 over Bells, who has 14.
I've always thought that's one of the weirdest names. Bells. Not just Bell.
Bells.
Exactly. Like there's
who once were known as the Golden Panthers, now just known as the Panthers. I don't know where they lost the gold. But now a timeout has been called on the field. We'll keep it right here. 21-14. The Boyd Broncos of McKinney are leading the Bulldogs of McKinney North here at Ron Post Stadium, 21-14.
They lost their golden in the credit crunch, the economic recession.
A lot of, you think about mascots in Texas, and some of them are just
great. Out there, yeah.
You think about Mason Cowpunchers.
I've never heard of that one.
Yeah.
We used to play the Crane Golden Cranes. They were in our district.
Hey, be with us next Friday night. We're going to be traveling. One of our few traveling games that we're going to have this year. We're going to head over to Saxe. Yeah, that's Saxe, Gene. And we'll be doing the McKinney Lions for the first time this year over in Saxe. And we'll get to see the great quarterback and wide receiver connection, Lita Lipka.
Yeah.
Some great quarterbacks in this district.
Remember, they were sophomores last year.
That's right.
So they'll be refining their.
We saw that game last year, and it was a 26 straight points from McKinney to win that football game, I believe.
And remember, Saxe's a 5A squad.
Yeah.
And they still were able to do so. It kind of gives you hope. Monty, there's something that's been bothering me, and I haven't really said it a whole lot. We got a little time now. Look at the north end zone clock, the play clock. It looks like 26, doesn't it? They have a light that's on the whole time. And I'm wondering if that's kind of messing with the quarterbacks a little bit.
I think there's 3 lights on the whole time. Well, the crowd's getting into it now. 4th down and 1. Going to go for it. McKinney North, Griffin in the gun. And he tosses it out to Matthews for the sweep to the 5 in the end zone. It's touchdown time in Texas.
Tony Brown sprung that play.
McKinney North is 1 point away from tying this football game with 5:49 left to go.
And Monty, this is a typical Sean Pratt area. I could see him going for 2 here. I don't think he will.
I don't think so after the R.L. Turner fiasco about 4 years ago.
Right.
5 years ago.
But, that's something that's right up his alley. But you know what? That's a great call. I mean, they had been running up the middle. And you would have thought with 4th and 1 they would have done the same thing. So what does he do? He runs it outside, makes sure he gets a seam, and then they're able to also get the end zone.
Ooh, the all-important extra point was almost blocked, but Rice and Long got it through. It was a great effort by Cody Sieber, but it is true. And we're tied up again. 5:49 left to go. A great ball game here at Ron Post Stadium. 21-21, McKinney Boyd and McKinney North. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Post Stadium. Monty Walker along with the rest of the crew. And how about a Mike's Economy Transmission scoring drive recap, Kevin?
For McKinney North, 10 plays, 84 yards. The longest drive of the game, 5 minutes and 37 seconds. Concludes with Josh Matthews' 8-yard touchdown run, bringing Matthews to 267 yards on 27 carries.
Is that it?
Wow, it's Matthews versus Alves tonight. Both over 200 yards.
Who's winning that battle?
Well, Alves is not done. 225 yards on 16 carries. Oh, that's a penalty.
There's another.
Well, maybe not.
There's another North player going over the line on the Quail onside. Is that a rule they've eliminated?
Apparently, because it doesn't get more obvious. He was standing there.
Rice and Long will boot this one away. It's the pooch kick. I haven't seen that one yet. And this one goes out of bounds. So a delay of game will go against North here. 5:49 left to go in the football game. Tied up 21-21. McKinney North and McKinney Boyd at Ron Post Stadium.
And Monty, I'm not sure that we're not going to keep seeing the pooch kick because they're getting burned on these onsides. Now, the thing is you got to make sure – or not onsides, on these kickoff returns. The thing is you got to make sure they're fielded because they go out of bounds, you get hurt just as bad.
I tell you, McKinney Boyd has so many skill position weapons that they are just flat out dangerous in the open field.
But then you got to wonder, with the score being what it is, what's the difference? And you know what? I think obviously Matthews is a big difference, but you know what? I don't want to sound like I'm favoring somebody at this point, but I like what I've seen more out of Vince Stanko than Brent Griffin.
Well, we haven't seen much.
And that's really the big problem is he hasn't got a whole lot of opportunities to showcase what he can do because he's been handing off to Matthews when he's in there. That, of course, may be a whole other issue about why they would be doing that instead of something else.
Okay, back to Alves. 1st and 10 for McKinney Boyd. Alves running right up the left side, bounces out left, cuts up to the inside, running right, carrying a man, carries Spencer Rogers for a first down to the 40-yard line. Well, it's going to be real close. I believe he has enough, though, to go ahead and move those sticks. And, you're fighting for who has the most yards in this game. And you heard that Josh Matthews has 267, and now Alves is just right behind him at 235.
And Monty, we've talked about his athleticism so well, and I think another one of his more valuable attributes that we haven't really talked about is his vision. He can see the field and see where the holes are, see where the defenders are, and then know where he needs to go. And that's not an easy trait, and that's not something you can teach.
Handoff up the middle, Montarius Pittman with a full load of steam. And he heads up about 4 yards to the 44-yard line. And it'll be 2nd and about 6 as we near the 5-minute mark here. And you think what Boyd would probably want to do here is keep the ball on the ground, run out most of this clock, and punch it in, as somehow McKinney North has gone up 28-21 on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I think that's a misnomer.
Do they know something we don't know? Oh, now it's going back down. Here's a handoff to Pittman. No, Alves keeps it. He wants to throw down the field. Grant Gibson wide open at the 15, 10, 5. It is touchdown time in Texas. Darren Alves, 56 yards to Grant Gibson, the nephew of Todd Dodge, hauls it in, and they take the lead.
And that is touchdown pass number 3 for Darren Alves versus 1 rushing touchdown. Huh? What did I miss?
Grant Neptune Gibson. He had 1 touchdown last year.
The officials are talking. This may not be
there
a
is
done
a
deal.
flag down at the 20.
What could that be, though?
How did we all miss that?
What? But at that point, there was no contact. Oh, okay. Jared makes a good point. There's likely to be unsportsmanlike. No. Oh, my. Take it off. Personal foul on the Broncos. Touchdown off the board. We're back to tied.
And, guys,
wow.
13th penalty of the game for 127 yards.
They are committing some of the most awful penalties at some of the most awful times.
Wow. Wow.
You know what it was? It was good. I'm not going to say for certainty, but my guess is that as somebody was trailing the play, somebody hit somebody else that didn't need to be hit.
Wow.
If you didn't hear that, they're saying that since he hadn't scored yet and it's a spot foul, they're taking it from the spot of the foul, and it's still a first down. It's just not a touchdown.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're back to a tie ball game. So, they put North points on the board, took them off. They did the same thing for Boyd just then. Alves runs left side, tries to find the corner, cuts back right side on his hands and knees. Now cuts back again left side. Tony Dorsett makes another great move, dives to the 30-yard line. A 5-yard gain, but it was spectacular. How does that young man do it?
I have never seen anybody go against the grain 3 times and still gain yardage.
You ever tried to tackle a cat?
We should have used that last year. That's exactly what it is. It's like the show Animal Planet with Animal Cops, and they got to corral these feral cats that are inside this house. He's the feral cat.
Under 4 minutes now. 2nd and 7. Throws it out to Gibson again, who makes the catch again, and he does not get out of bounds. They'll roll the clock at the 19-yard line. It'll be a first down for McKinney Boyd, and they momentarily stopped the clock for chain movement.
My gosh, Monty. I don't know who to feel the worst for, Grant Gibson or Alves. I mean, Grant Gibson, that was a perfect run pattern, and the ball was right where it needed to be. That was earned points, and somebody else not playing smart took it away from you.
Well, here's Mazer in motion, stands behind Alves. 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left is Gibson, and Alves runs right, gets a block from Mazer, and he fights through and squirts through 2 others on his way to an 8-yard gain, and tackled by Spencer Rogers inside about the 12-yard line, nearing that end zone, nearing that south end zone. Needs about 3 yards for a first.
Monty, did you ever run horseshoes in practice when you were in high school? 100 yards, 50, 100, and then back again?
Right.
I guarantee if you assign 1 horseshoe for every penalty, penalties start to lower.
I've seen a coach run players after a game before.
Don Drake has,
Yep.
as a matter of fact.
His name was Don Drake.
Yep.
Here's Alves, and he runs Pittman in motion, who gets the hand, and he gets no gain.
What a tackle.
A nice play over there. And Jared Fort points out that it was Tony Brown who made the stop.
We're starting to see reminiscings of the old dog pound defense, Monty. I mean, that was a hard-nosed play.
Brandon Ramsey was also over there, the sophomore.
We talk a lot about the failings that the Bulldogs had on offense, but I think one of the biggest things where they digressed on last year versus the previous 2 years was their defense. They weren't as hard-nosed, and they made plays, but they weren't definitive about it.
They gave up 21 points a game last year, talking about McKinney North. Here's Alves. He runs to the right side, getting a block, gets a great block from Schmidt, finding his way towards the end zone. Is he in? Is he in? Yes! It's touchdown time in Texas! Darren Alves from 11 yards out unties this football game again.
That penalty may have been a blessing in disguise, Monty, because now an extra minute and a half to almost 2 minutes are off the clock. They still get the same points. And you know what? Not that North can't do it, but it's a lot harder for the offense that we know it today to score a touchdown in 2 minutes.
Richardson's kick limps low. No, it's no good. It's no good. It might have been blocked at the line of scrimmage. What does that do? 27-21. It's a 6-point game with 2:04 left to go. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Well, I think we're going to have the Pinball Wizard theme song memorized by the end of this season for sure. 2:04 left to go in the game. 27-21 after the missed PAT. Is it missed or was it blocked? We don't know. I have a feeling it was blocked or partially tipped anyway. But McKinney Boyd in the lead, 27-21. 2:04 left to go in the game here at Ron Post Stadium. And North is now going to have a chance to go ahead in this football game. But they're going to have to secure the football. And here's the kickoff. It is the JBS Express kickoff taken by Josh Allen at about the 15-yard line. Makes his way up to the 25. And McKinney North will start there, 75 yards away from pay dirt. Bo Davis makes the stop for the Broncos. How about an American Bank? How about a Mike's Economy transmission scoring drive
Penalty.
recap? Yeah, there we go.
For the Broncos, they go 8 plays, 70 yards, take up 3:45 on the clock. Darren Alves with an 11-yard touchdown, his 5th touchdown of the game when you consider rushing and passing. 256 yards rushing, 206 yards passing, and I think he cleans out the stands after the game.
462 yards of total offense by my Hal Bulldog calculations.
Well, that's nothing. There'll be a game this year he'll do 500. Watch.
Minute 58 left to go. And North has a chance here. Handoff to Matthews. And he gains 4 yards up to the 29-yard line. And under 2 minutes now. 1:48 and ticking.
Bonnie, just a hypothetical here, but who do you put in a quarterback if you're the Bulldogs?
Well, right now they have Griffin in.
Sure.
And normally your passer is Stanko.
Right. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer. I'm just, throwing that out for thought.
Movement up front. And I think this one's going to be on North.
Yeah, and Monty, there's
Colton Duncan.
a lot of difference between the Broncos getting a penalty than the Bulldogs getting the penalty. We know the Broncos can overcome it. We've seen it game after game last year, and they've overdone it this year. They're in the lead. I'm not sure. I'm not saying they can't, but I'm not sure the Bulldogs can overcome a penalty at this stage of the game with a minute 30 left and basically going back 5 yards that you gained the previous play.
Well, McKinney North has had to basically reinvent themselves. They were a team that spread out the field and stretched it out. They just aren't that kind of team anymore.
Nope.
And here's Griffin on the run, rolling out, trying to throw it out in the flat, and he does have his man. Chris Allen makes the catch at the 31-yard line. And he stays in bounds, so the clock will roll.
Yeah, and he didn't get a first down. That's what I talk about. I don't know that they can overcome that penalty. If they don't get that penalty, they get 6 yards at the first down. The clock at least stops.
Hurry up offense now, a minute 6. Griffin, handoff Matthews, who's caught in the backfield, spinning out of a tackle. Now he's caught back there. Swarm defense by the Boyd Broncos, and that's a big loss all the way back to about the 26-yard line. Keith Owens and Landry Kemp there to make sure Matthews doesn't go anywhere. 59 seconds, and North will call a timeout. We'll keep it right here. 27-21, McKinney Boyd in the lead, even though they have 14 penalties, maybe 13. 13 penalties.
I've run out of fingers.
And I can't see my toes.
And that's the thing. Here's the thing. Let me tell you when you've had a bad penalty games. You run out of fingers.
That's right.
If you haven't, it's at least okay. But like I said, they were able to overcome it. I'm not sure that the Bulldogs can. It's going to be interesting to see here who they put in because it's I don't want to say it's apparently obvious, but in my professional football opinion
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh.
No, I laugh too. Vince Stanko's the better passer. And this is a situation. You're under a minute left. You've got 70 yards plus to go. You need to pass the ball. And I'm not talking a 6-yard pass where you stay in bounds and lose 23 seconds like that's happened on this drive. Well, they got to get their quarterback situation figured out one way or the other so they can play to that quarterback strength.
Griffin's still in the game. It's 4th and 8. This is it for McKinney North. 59 seconds left to go. From their own 27-yard line, Griffin rolling out, running for his life, throws it down the field, and it's incomplete. Just outside the stretched arms of his receiver, Josh Allen. Cody Sieber was right there for Boyd to make sure nothing happened. And Boyd will take over, and they'll take this 52 seconds to the house.
Yeah, and Monty, I think I see why we didn't see Stanko in there. He's not as mobile as Griffin is. He can't get out of the pocket and scramble, and that's what I think they need. So it makes me wonder if Stanko isn't in there passing because the offensive line can't hold all of the defenders that they need to, and they need Griffin's ability to improv on the play. That could be a big difference where it's not necessarily a knock on Stanko, as much as it is you got to go with the guy who's at least not going to be able to, at least try to avoid a sack.
52 delicious seconds for McKinney Boyd as they line up in the victory formation. And Alves gets it, takes a knee. Oh, he's going to lose yards.
Oh, Matthews is going to win that one.
Actually, guys, he does not get the credit there. According to NCAA statistics, that is a team loss when you intentionally take a knee to run out the clock.
That's why you're here, Kevin.
But this is UIL. There might be.
We typically use the same statistical measures in high school as we do for NCAA if you're scoring at home.
And if you're from the 1950s, right?
And I'm neither.
45 seconds as I believe North called their final timeout there. And there is 45 seconds left to go. Second down and 16 officially for McKinney Boyd. 27-21. They lead McKinney North here at Ron Poe Stadium. What a night it's been. It's been a crazy night from the get-go. And penalties everywhere. Fumbles everywhere. Alves and Matthews everywhere. And we got to start thinking about that McKinney gym equipment star of the game. And since Boyd looks like the winner for tonight, we need to pick a Boyd player. And here, once again, the victory formation. Darren Alves takes a knee. And McKinney North has no timeouts left. So the clock will roll down here. There's 34 seconds, 33. We'll see if the officials, they start the clock now, so they'll have to run another play because the play clock is at 21. The official game clock is at 21 now. So
they almost ran out of downs.
No, they won't have to.
No, they won't, but they almost ran out of downs,
Well, that's the end of the football game. McKinney Boyd wins for the second year in a row. Last year, they beat North 49-28. A little closer this time around, 27-21. 5A beats 4A. And old assistant coach beats former head coach Don Drake over Sean Pratt. 27-21, we're going to take a timeout. We'll come back with some highlights, some interviews on the field. We'll maybe talk to Don Drake. All that coming up next on 97.5 KLAK.